means art and culture. Adhika. Medieval. अपने को नॉर्मल बोल चाहिए. So, very good morning, everyone. We'll continue with the history, ancient India, medieval, art and culture, right? So, in the past 3 sessions, we have completed with the major themes of ancient India, right? That is Indus Valley civilization, Guptas, Mauryas, right? Vijayanagara, Delhi Sultanate, etc. All the PYQs we have dissected, decoded, and understood the major themes, right? I hope everyone has understood and enjoyed the classes. Hi, Anna. So great. So now today we'll come up with the major 3 themes, right? So today we are going to discuss about Bhakti movement, yet another important theme about history. Second is about Jainism and Buddhism. Then it is about Mughals, art and architecture. And then we'll discuss about, finally we'll discuss about Jainism and Buddhism. So these are the 4 major themes. So if you just try to analyze the previous year questions, especially post 2013 till 25, this year prelims, if you are getting 10 questions from ancient and medieval, art and culture combined together, then out of that 6 questions are from these topics, right? 6 to 7 questions. Matlab, the weightage of these 4 topics is extremely high, correct? And the nature of the topic, if you just try to understand the nature of the topic, especially Bhakti, art and culture, Jainism, Buddhism, we can say that you need to have a basic idea about each of this topic, and it is generally factual in nature. And the theme is absolutely repetitive, right? So we should be having a basic content with you, and then we are going to decode and dissect all the PYQs thematically, right? So let us start with something called as Bhakti movement, right? So here in the first 40-45 minutes, what we are going to do, guys, is basically we are going to understand. So first I will be discussing about Bhakti movement, later all these topics, but only Bhakti movement. Almost there are about 35 questions, sir. So what we are going to do, we are going to give a timeline in Bhakti movement what UPSC is asking, that we will first understand, dissect in first 40 minutes, and then we'll go into deeper levels while discussing the PYQs, right? So let us start with the Bhakti movement, right? Again, this is not Bhakti movement. This is not basically, I would say, the teaching classes, rather the PYQs, decoding the PYQs. So we are going to give a general idea, but while decoding the PYQs, we will go into detail. So here, while you are studying with Bhakti movement, what you should understand is basic part. The first major point is the origin of the Bhakti movement. All the major points about origin of the Bhakti movement. So Bhakti movement, we can find the traces of the origin of the Bhakti movement to 6th to almost 12th century AD, right? Especially in the South India. So if you want, you can keep on writing. I'm not going to write, basically like you can write origin to 6th to 12th century, right? Uske baad origin via South India. So what I'm saying is that whenever I'm speaking or Aditya sir is speaking, you can keep on noting the points, correct? Because of time paucity, we will be just dictating but telling you, but slowly, so that you can write it, note it down. So origin of the Bhakti movement, if you just try to understand India of that time, India at the time of the 6th century, we find the traces of the Bhakti movement in southern India by 6th century, where the major philosophers, especially the Shankaracharya and Ramanuja, while at the same time all this Bhakti movement was propagated and it spreaded towards North India, towards Bengal. Am I right or wrong? Over the period of time. So here you should understand the origin. Secondly, you should understand the reasons for the rise, origin matlab hi, but I am writing it separately, reasons for the rise of the Bhakti movement. Correct, sir? So sir can elaborate upon some certain reasons like religious causes. What were the religious causes for the rise of the Bhakti movement? Then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first you have to basically understand the origin. Within the origin, basically, we'll have, it starts with South India.
It is
within the
not audible.
audible, it audible, right? Not audible.
Now it is.
Now it's audible. It's audible now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it starts with South India, and very in the starting time, if you look at it, one starts with the the Advaita Siddhanta of Shankaracharya, right? It is around 7th, 8th century, and from 9th to 12th century, you can take the Tamil part where you have Alvars and Nayanars, which is basically two basic sects related to Shaivism and Vaishnavism. So that is, and in the 1010 or in the 11th century, I can say the Ramanujacharya ka Vishishtadvaita will begin, right? So it will lead to the something called, for the North Indian explanation. In the North India, we will have a different kind of, from 12th century to 15th century, you have a Bhakti movement which starts from Ramananda and then his disciples like Kabir, Ravidas, right, Sena, all those will start propagating it, and this Guru Shishya Parampara will start. And again, that will be, and in the eastern part, it will be more of a, the Chaitanya ka Vaishnavism, or we can say Gaudiya Vaishnavism in the Bengal region due to Chaitanya, right? So that is basically in the 15th, 16th century it will happen, but it will happen in the Bengal. And in the Maharashtra region, most importantly, the Warkari tradition, where you have, Namdev, Eknath, Tukaram, all these names that you are going to get, Jnaneshwar, all that you are going to get from 12th to 16th century in the western part, which is more related to a Warkari tradition, or, the Bhakti with respect to Vithoba. Right, so that is basically the Warkari tradition. So you always remember them from the perspective of what was happening in East India, what was happening in Western India, what was happening in the northern region, what was happening in the south region, so that you can dissect them in mentally, and it becomes easy for you to remember and connect the things. All right.
So to sum up, if you consider the religious reason, during the time of the 6th century, it was basically, I would say, the rigidity of caste system prevalent. Secondly, it was mainly about with respect to the rituals, the sacrifices, etc. Correct? Because of this reason, plus cultural influence of Sufi movement was also there. So because of certain reasons, basically Bhakti movement was on the rise. Similarly, if you just try to understand the features of the Bhakti movement, it is nothing but a personal devotion. Matlab one-to-one relationship with the God. That is personal devotion. Secondly, this personal devotion with the God was on the basis of the vernacular language, the rise of the vernacular language like Awadhi, Vagera, correct? Then Tamil, Kannada, all this through the Vachanas, literature got raised, especially in this region. Third is, most important is, the ideas of the saints were propagated in the form of the poets or in the form of the poems, correct? Abhangas, right? All these things were the basic features or the ideas about the Bhakti movement, how it was basically, I would say, propagated throughout the India in this particular time period. I hope you got it. Similarly, next is आपका spread. Spread, especially we able to see it from south to north. Correct? South to north. So I hope I am just giving you a brief idea कि Bhakti movement क्या था. It is a spiritual devotion towards the God. Correct? Through the various things like poems, abhangas, वगैरह. Correct? In this context, now if you just try to understand how it originated and what is the chronology from 6th century to almost about 17th century. How it originated. I am again telling, as Aditya Sir told, it started from the South India, correct? Later it went on to Karnataka, we can see Karnataka, Bengal, North India. But to sum it up, I can write it as follows. The fifth major point is basically आपका chronology. Chronology. It is not, I would say, exactly, but we can divide it in the following way. First is आपका early Vedantic foundation. Early Vedantic foundation. Early Vedantic foundation of this particular, I would say, Bhakti movement was let down by someone called as Shankaracharya. Aditya sir can comment upon this.
Shankaracharya, known for his Advaita Siddhanta. So what is Advaita Siddhanta? What is Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita? There are many philosophies, right? Because when they have asked the basic question, next question will be about the philosophies, right? You understand that, in how we have UPSC, we have seen that when they start, they just ask who's Siddhanta and who is the main proponent of it. That has already been asked. So that means that what will be the next level of question that we are going to ask about that philosophy itself. That is how the evolution in the UPSC. That means that, I have shown you that Aragata, what it is, the first question. Then how it works is the second question. So if they want to repeat the theme, then they go deep within the theme. So now they have asked the chronology. Who comes first, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Chaitanya, that chronology has been asked. And Nimbarka ka, Vallabhacharya ka, Pushti Marga, all those they have asked. Now they go, what is that philosophy? Whose philosophy is first level of question? That has already been touched upon. So that means that next level of question will be what is that philosophy is about. So just don't mug it up Advaita, Dvaita and those things, but try to understand the basic what it is. Okay. So what is Advaita then? God and human beings are same. Aham Brahmasmi. Okay. So that is a basically quote line that you say that God, and there is no distinction between Brahma and Atma. Atma is soul. Brahma is basically the eternal God. So there is no basically difference between them. You are the part of God. Right? So that means that there is no distinction. Whatever the real world we are seeing, this is Maya, an illusion. Right? But already God is within you. Right? You and God are not same. Only the problem is you are not able to find the God within you. So that means that how do you find it? You need the knowledge about it. Right? So that is, he proposes the knowledge mark or jnana mark. So that means that through the proper knowledge, you can find the God within you. It is already within you, you can find it. Only the problem is you don't know it. You are not aware of it. Right? And whatever that we are seeing in our daily life, the Jagat, he says, is nothing but the Maya or a illusion. Right? So that basically is the Advaita. Then there will be Vishishta Advaita of Ramanujacharya, Dvaita of Madhvacharya. Right? Then basically Nimbarka will come, who is contemporary of Madhvacharya. He will give Dvaita Dvaita. Right? Then in the 15th, 16th century, you have two major. One is Vallabhacharya and other here Chaitanya. Right? Chaitanya says about Achintya Beda Abeda. However, the Vallabhacharya talks about Shuddha Advaita. Shuddha Advaita means pure non-dualism. Not just Advaita, pure Advaita or the Shuddha Advaita. His path was Pushti Marg. So we'll discuss that when we are discussing the questions. But you should be knowing all these things, who are contemporary to whom, and then basically what were their philosophies and what is this philosophy with an example. So basic example if you can connect with, that would be more than sufficient.
So here you should know about this, all the philosophy, as Aditya sir said, non-dualism, that is Advaita, what is Vishishta Advaita, and the chronology and the people associated. In which region they were, when were they born, how did they spread, vagera vagera, correct? Or Shankaracharya hoga to 4 mutt, where did he establish the mutts, etc. All those basic things you should know for the prelims perspective. Now, along with, in the same time, that is in the time of the 6th to 12th century, especially in the South India, the Tamil South pioneers, Tamil South pioneers with respect to आपका so called as Bhakti movement were none other than Alvars and Nayanars. So Alvars were the people who worshipped someone called as what? Vaishnavism, and this is nothing but Shaivism, correct? So along with this, the poets, that is Alvar, were worshipping the Vaishnava. You should know who were the important saints associated with it and what are their literary literature, their literature ka name. For example, few of the saints with respect to Vaishnavism in Alvars are
Alvars ka what you are supposed to know. How many Alvars are there?
364.
63. That is Nayanars.
That right? Is Nayanars.
Alvars are 12 Alvars. Right? Within that, one is a female saint. Correct. Who is Andal. Right? So you should be knowing about female saint because that is a separate, within the whole devotion that we are seeing, only we came few female saints. One you can see about Andal, one Akka Mahadevi from Karnataka, then Mirabai from Rajasthan. Then Lalleshwari or Lal Ded from the Kashmir. These are the 4 major women saints in the Bhakti movement. that you should have a special focus upon. Whose god they were doing, what is the way they were approaching. For example, if you look at Akka Mahadevi, through Vachanas, she was, connected with God. Like that, Mirabai from Kirtanas, right? Lalleshwari through works, right? So that is basically you should be having what is the kind of poetry that they were having and the devotion that they were showing with the God, right? One, their chronology, where region they belong to, which God they were having devotion, and how they were expressing their devotion. These are the various stages that you have to understand. Similarly, Alwars ka overall compilation has been done by Nathamuni, right? So, which is basically Nalariya Divya Prabandham.
You should remember these names,
huh? Knowing about the, all the compilation of Alwars, whatever the different Alwars had given the themes, that has been compiled in one book called Nalariya Divya Prabandham, right? So, that is basically also called as Tamil Veda, right? So, that you should be having a broader understanding. And then Nayanmars mein you have, many are there, Sundara or Appar, you are having many of the Nayanars who are basically the Shaivite side. So that difference you should be having. The time period was basically from 9th century to 12th century. That is the bearing time of, the imperial Chola and, the last stage of Pallavas. That time you can see this tradition of Nayanars and Alvars, that you should be having a broader understanding. All right.
Similarly, the compilations of Nayanars who worshipped Shiva was nothing but आपका Tevarams. Okay, so you should remember these names, उनका compilation, etc. Right? So now, next is आपका within Karnataka. So I hope you're understanding. We are in 6th century or 7th, and slowly we are moving towards the north. First is especially Shankaracharya, and slowly Alvars, Nayanars, and now we came to Karnataka. That is during Karnataka, especially during आपका 12th century CE, with respect to what? Basavanna and Veer Shaiva Lingayat, correct? And the compilation of Basavanna in the form of what? Vachanas. So you should be knowing basic idea and the philosophy of Basavanna, correct? At the same time, now from 12th century, slowly the spread of this particular Bhakti movement is now moving towards the Maharashtra and towards the North India. Correct? That is, I am telling you now D in the form of Maharashtra. In Maharashtra, we are having something called as between 13th to 17th century. In this particular time period, the most important is Wari tradition, Wari Warkari tradition, where the people go to Vitthal, that is towards the Pandharpur, etc. Right? Wari Warkari traditions, and the important saints. You should be knowing about important saints and their compilations like Jnaneshwar.
You should be knowing them in a chronological order.
Jnaneshwar.
Sometimes in the chronological order can happen. So that is Jnaneshwar, then Ramdev, then Eknath, lastly Tukaram. Tukaram was basically parallel to Jahangir and Shahjahan. So Tukaram is in the 17th century. All their compilation was known by Abhangas. How we say Vachanas, their poetry form is called Abhangas. So that you should be knowing, and the chronology, what is the god they were doing and whose king contemporary they were. So when you are studying them, not just the poet contemporary with whom the king, the Delhi Sultanate, who was the major king, not the minor king. You have to understand, if it is about Mughals, who is the Mughal king contemporary to them. Similarly, if the Delhi Sultanate was there, who was the contemporary to them. So that is the basic understanding that you should be having about it.
So right? This is what sir said, that is important saints, their contribution, Abhangas, Kirtanas, Jnaneshwar, commentary upon the Gita, etc. You should be knowing about it, right? So here, next is my so-called as in North India. In North India, especially during the time period of something called as 14th to 17th century. 14th to 17th century, there emerged two major streams of the philosophies and the thought. That is none other than Nirguna worship and Saguna worship. Nirguna is nothing but the formless God. Saguna matlab the God with the attributes. So you should be knowing which are the major proponents of Nirguna. Who are those? Anyone? Kabir. Correct? There are many. We should be knowing each and every आपका person associated with the Nirgun and Sagunas. Sagunas you are having basically आपका Vallabhacharya, Chaitanya, etc. etc. All those things you should be knowing here. We are going to go into detail, but here I am just making a timeline so that you can remember the things. तो ये समझ में आ रहा है पूरा आपको? सो दिस इज आपका बेसिक आइडिया अबाउट द आपका क्रोनोलॉजी ऑफ समथिंग कॉल्ड एज द भक्ति मूवमेंट. अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग, आई एम जस्ट समिंग इट अप. भक्ति मूवमेंट में फर्स्ट हमने क्या देखा? ओरिजिन, रीजंस, फीचर्स, उसका स्प्रेड, विद इन द स्प्रेड द क्रोनोलॉजी. देन वी आर गोइंग टू सी इन डिटेल अद्वैत, विशिष्ट अद्वैत, वो सब कुछ डिटेल में देखने वाले while discussing the questions. This is what is the आपका so called as complete उसका chronology. Now what you should know next is आपका so called as you should be having detailed idea about philosophies, as Aditya sir has spoken about. Or rather than philosophies, first I will write about the saints. Saints, for example, as I am mentioning, in North India you are having the different philosophers like Ramananda, Kabir. Then you are having something called as आपका Ravidas, Sena, correct? Then Tulsidas, Namdev, Eknath, etc. Eknath. Then Guru Nanak we are going to study separately in the form of Sikhism, but still these are nothing but the saints. But about these saints, what you should know is the following thing. First, you should be knowing all these basic things. First point, you should be knowing about their profession. For example, this was the PYQ. Profession. What is the profession of Kabir? What is the profession of Ravidas, etc. Second, which region they belong to. For example, who was present in the Awadh, who was from the Gujarat, वगैरह. You should be knowing about it. Third is basically their compilations or literary work, or I can say compilations. Example, the compilation of the Dohas and the Kabir work is found in the form of what? Bijaks. तो आपको bijaks के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. Fourth, you should be knowing about their philosophy with respect to the God. First, whether they were Nirgun या Sagun, one. Second, if they are Saguna, then they worship which God? Whether it was Krishna, Bhakti या कौन था, ये भी पता होना चाहिए आपको. Secondly, very important is contemporary to which ruler? They were contemporary to which ruler? For example, you should be knowing Namdev and Tukaram were contemporary to which ruler, etc. That is, you should be knowing the time period. I am writing that saints, their respective time periods, वगैरह, and their contemporaries. So these are the basic 5 points which you should be knowing about. All of this particular आपका so called as each and every person का you should be knowing this part. I hope everyone got the idea. So depending upon all these saints which are written, उसके बारे में हमने क्या बोला अभी यहाँ पे, you should be knowing all the literary compilations वगैरह. Similarly, philosophies is yet another important theme. Philosophies. So Aditya sir has already spoken. I will just note it down so that you can note it down depending upon chronology, and he will explain it in more detail later. For example, first, as I was spoken about Advaita. Second, Vishishta Advaita. Then third, it is none other than my Dvaita. That is dualism. Fourth, it is Dvaita Advaita. Then it is none other than my Shuddha Advaita. Then it is आपका so called as आपका Sankirtana, etc. All these are nothing but the philosophies या फिर contributions, I can say, but the major are basically these 5 only. Sankirtana I am not putting it under this, but these are the major 5. So Advaita, ये सब कुछ by whom? So Advaita is given by whom? Shankaracharya. Vishishta Advait, Ramanuja. You can note it down. Dvaita by Madhavacharya. Correct? Dvaita Advait, Nimbaraka. Correct? And then Shuddha Advait, Vallabhacharya. Correct? So these are the philosophies. Each and every philosophy you should be knowing, and the time period also you should be knowing. Correct? So these are the basic points that you should be knowing about the Bhakti movement. Now the most important part later is about saints and their literary compilations and the contrary. So ये जो है ना literary work, vernacular language है, और एक मैं लिखता हूँ literary work, here only you can add vernacular language. Which vernacular language में the compilations were done by the people. For example, Ramcharitramanas was written by whom?
Right, again, the best way of looking into it is divide by region, right? So first understand, don't mug it up this. but try to understand region. For example, Nayanars and Alwar, where they were associated with Tamil. So what will be the language they would be using? Tamil, right? So similarly, let's say Vachana movement, where it is basically belong to Karnataka. So which language they would be using? Kannada. Then similarly, Varkari tradition, which is there from the Maharashtra. So which language they would be using? Marathi. Now Guru Nanak, if he is from which region? Punjab. So which language he will be using? Punjabi. Right. So similarly, when it comes to North India, you have to be different languages are there because dialects are there. Right. For example, Tulsidas is there. Right. He has written Ram Manis. Right. So Ramcharitradas. So that is basically where what he has written is in the Awadhi language. Right. So similarly, Surdas has written Surgit. So that has been written in Braj Bhasha. Right. Similarly, if you have Ramananda, he is the first one to use Hindi language. Right. So these are all North India. So within the dialects of North India, it will be there. So that much you should be having the basic understanding, and then you can just take it. Similarly, the type of literature, as we have told, Chaitanya known for Sankirtan, Mirabai known for Kirtan, right? And Veerashaiva movement known for Vachanas, right? Similarly, Maharashtra tradition known for Abhangas, right? Like that, you should be knowing their type of poetry also, then which language they have used as. So if you divide them into a chapter of, the kind of the language that they were going to and the region they are going to, it becomes easy to connect the things. All right.
Okay. And the list of the saints what we have noted is not exclusive. इसमें दादू दयाल भी ऐड होगा, बहुत सारे saints हैं that we will be keeping doing simultaneously with the PYQs. Okay. So second, after this philosophies हो गया, saints हो गया, right? Then is about the generally how the chronological evolution, origin and ye. At the same time here simultaneously here during the same time we have to study something called as Sikhism. Very, very important thing. So about Sikhism, what you should know is the following points. सबसे पहला what you should know is the major features associated with the Sikhism. So what were the features associated with the Sikh religion? Only one God, Nirguna God, correct? Strict monotheism was practiced by Sikhs, right? Then you should be knowing about the founder, etc. Correct? And now, I hope you have written one God, Nirguna Bhakti, correct? Then you should be knowing, very important is 10 Sikh Gurus. You should be knowing all of them, right? Or I would say most of them, right? Starting with Guru Nanak, Guru Angad, Guru Arjan, etc. Har Gobind Singh, vagera, vagera. So, inke names, correct? First, you should be knowing chronology of them, correct? Second, their important contribution, what was the contributed by the respective person, and the most important which UPSC loves a lot is they were contemporary to whom? Contemporary to which ruler? Contemporary to which ruler? I mean the time period. For example, who was Guru Nanak were contemporary to which ruler? Anyone? Guru Nanak were contemporary to whom? Come on. UPSC will be asking all such types of questions. So this guy was contemporary to this, vagera, vagera. So you should be knowing all about the. That is what I am saying. Time period, chronology, ये पता ही होना चाहिए. Correct? We will be discussing about it. So मतलब about Lodi dynasty के साथ बाबर वानी उन्होंने लिखा था वगैरह. That we are going to discuss. But you should be knowing each and everything about this particular aspect. 10 Sikh Gurus, chronology, उनका contribution and contemporary to which ruler they were present. Okay. And the last and the most important is Sufism. Sufism. So Sufi movement का you should be knowing उसका basic features. I can say basic features. How is it different with respect to Sharia or the different aspects? How they worship the God? What was their means to worship the God? Correct? How they worship? How they connected with the God? ये सारे के सारे basic features you should be knowing about the Sufis. And about the most important part about the Sufis is that you should be knowing आपका Sufis का major 4 orders of the Sufis. Very important. In the recent times they are asking question. There are major 4 orders of the Sufis, that is none other than by Chishti order. Second, it is none other than by so called as Suharwadi order. Then third is my Qadri, and fourth is Naqshbandi. So these are my 4 major orders. Now question is, what is asked in this order? Orders are not directly asked, but what is asked in this order is basically key saints. Who are the important saints? For example, any 2 important saints of Chishti order? Anyone? Konta, come on.
Niyamuddin Chisti.
Correct.
Then Salim Chisti.
Or so I hope you are understanding.
Niyamuddin Auliya, right? Baba Farid.
ये सारे लोग नाम याद रहना चाहिए in the recent tense they are asking. At the same time, along with the key sense, you should be knowing their basically I would say ideology or their thought process. I would say their ideas. For example, when we are speaking about Chisti order, they did not take any state patronage. They were not taking any high post. But this was completely opposite to Suharwadi. Correct? Getting the point? So what were their ideas about the God, how to connect with the God? ये सब कुछ आपको पता होना चाहिए. Ideas, or I can say their features or their philosophy. I am writing their philosophy. उनका philosophy. And the most important is basically the Sufi saints. These respective Sufi saints under each and every order enjoyed the patronage of which ruler? Patronage under which ruler? तो आपको ruler भी पता होना चाहिए. कौन से इसके साथ? Which was the Mughal ruler associated? Example, Akbar was associated with Salim Chisti, right? Similarly, Dara Shikoh under the Mian Mir. All these things you should be understanding. And last and the most important point here is that Sufi practices and terms. Sufi practices and the terms. For example, what is the meaning of Sama? Correct? Similarly, what is Zikr? What is Silsila? What is Murid? ये terms यहाँ पे पूछ सकते हैं ये लोग. So these are the basic things about the Bhakti and the Sufi movement that everyone should understand. So I am just summing it up and then we will be discussing all the PYQs. So today's topic is Bhakti movement as of now. So majorly questions are asked from here in the following way. First, they will not ask this first slide is mainly main specific to get an idea. इसमें से question नहीं आएगा generally. Questions will start from here. That is chronology, मतलब who was the people, their philosophy, their ideas. Correct? Secondly, in the spread, Maharashtra, North India, then Bengal के तरफ, then different saints, their profession, region, literary work, compilation, vernacular languages, their philosophy, and their contemporary to whom. Similarly, is about different philosophies. You should be knowing in detail what is the basic difference between each of this, not just the people associated, right? Then we are having something called as Sikhism. Sikhism का भी majorly 10 Sukh Gurus, उनके chronology, उनके contributions and contemporary rulers you should be compulsory knowing in the recent times. In last 5 years, major questions have came from this topic also. Similarly, about the Sufism. Sufism का भी basic, I would say, practices क्या होता है, features क्या है, then what are the terms associated with it, and at the same time, major 4 orders and their ideas and the philosophy. So these are the basic things, and the patronage what they got it from the which ruler, correct? So these are the 4 or 5 major sub themes under the so called as आपका Bhakti movement. I hope everyone got the idea. So philosophy, saints, Sikhism, Sufism, etc. So in this context now, I hope you got the idea. So that is why we have given this 45 minutes to give you basic idea about the Bhakti movement. Depending upon this now, we are going to discuss यही है ना sir. So depending upon this, we will be discussing now all the questions of the Bhakti movement, later Mughals, etc. So Adi will be discussing all the questions. I hope you got the idea. So now if you have got this timeline in your mind, everything in the mind, you just keep on adding. More or less questions will be repeated only around these themes, right? ठीक है? Any doubts? चलो ठीक है. Aditya sir will continue, and again we will be when we move on to Jainism, Buddhism. Again I will be coming. Again ऐसे पूरा detail में एक बार overview लेंगे, and then we will be again solving the MCQs. Okay?
Okay, so thank you Ashish sir for joining me, right? So now we will actually continue with the PYQ. So now you will understand, once you know the whole idea what will be asked. Now if you see the question, you have that broader idea, right? So what is it being asked, how you are supposed to prepare, right? So you know the first question that has been asked is match the following, where they have given different bhakti saints and they belong to a different profession, right? What is Namdev belong to? He is a tailor, right? What is Kabir belong to? He is from a weaver family, right? So it is just to show, it is not that you know they want to ask mug up all the profession. The basic idea of is what? They belong to not only from the upper hierarchy of the society, from all the different profession. Even the normal people can become bhakti saint. You can connect with the God, right? As how it has been evolved. So what is this bhakti? Why it is different from other religious, which was there before? What was the difference basically? Here it is more about personal devotion. Before, what was happening? There will be a mediator between God and you, who will be making all this, whatever that we are taking about rituals, other things that you cannot do. You cannot do, yagas. You cannot do something called, for example, for if king wants something, so he will be depending upon Purohit to do it. He cannot directly ask the God. So that means that there was a mediator between you and God. So there was no personal devotion, right? That is why the people from lower strata of the society could not be participating or connecting with the God. Right now, this bhakti moment is very different from that perspective, where they are told that God's and yours is individual relation. Right? So if you can have your own devotion towards the God, you can attain this thing. So that is how it is different as called as bhakti. Right? So now that means that to show this, it is not that they want to mug you up all the profession, but it want to show you that how different professions people also become a bhakti saints, and they become a major proponent of the various philosophies. Right? So that means that Namdev was tailor, right? Then Kabir was weaver. So that means that B should be 2, A should be 3. Anyways, it is there. Then Ravidas. Who is Ravidas? A cobbler. Right? So the cobbler, that means the C should be 4. Right? So this will be your answer. Now, once you understand this, then remaining Sena was a barber. Right? Now, if you look at them, there are 3 things here. 1, Kabir is there, Ravidas is there, Sena is there. Okay, these three were who are the disciples? These people were disciple of Ramananda. Right? So that means that the question based on this, the inspiring can be they were decipher on Ramananda. So that means that Ramananda question can be asked. Now within that, basically Ramananda was someone who propagated his idea in the common man's language, that is Hindi. Before all these philosophical idea, even if you look at Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, all their work, though it is telling that God is one, but their work was basically in Sanskrit. So that means that it was not easy for the masses to connect. So that means that these people who have not only from the lower background, because they were not knowing, when they are from the lower strata of the society, they won't be knowing Sanskrit, so they will be propagating their ideas in their own language, that is common mass language. So that will come to a picture. So that means that here I can take a theme Ramananda, because 3 of them are basically the disciples of Ramananda. So when I have 3 for different Ramananda, Ramananda is a Suguna saint. Suguna means he believed a God with a form. Somebody may be, worshipping Krishna. Somebody may be worshipping Rama. So that means that you are giving an attribute. He looks like this, he has a family, everything, right? So that is, he is basically Suguna, that means that he is basically a devotee of Rama, right? So Ramananda is a devotee. However, his ideas were taken, or his disciples, majorly Kabir and Ravidas, were basically Nirguna saints. They were not believing in one form of God. God is there. He is one. But he is not that, there is Allah, Ram, like that. There is no different gods. There is only one God without form. You cannot describe him. He is just energy. So that is Nirguna saint. So Nirguna saints are majorly Kabir and Ravidas. Now, along with that, it also can be a question on the Guru Shishya Parampara. Guru Shishya Parampara means disciples. That means that Ramananda ka is a guru, for him disciples. Similarly for Ravidas, who is the disciple? Mirabai. So whoever we see that Mirabai, who was a disciple of Ravidas. So that is again Guru Shishya Parampara. Again you can see this Guru Shishya Parampara also in Sufi orders. Sufi mein lineage will come. One will bear, then someone who will be working under pupil or under him, he will become the main Sufi saint, then he will be teaching his thought. So that means that basically the Guru Shishya Parampara can be another kind of theme that you should be having an idea. And with respect to Namadev, as I have told, Varkari tradition. If they want to get inspired, Varkari tradition can be the question. As we have already discussed, Varkari tradition may, they will be worshipping which god? Vitoba, right, of Pandarpur. Right, so that is basically a what they were doing, and they were chronology. Within that, Jnaneshwari becomes very important. He is the earliest one, and he has, his work is Jnaneshwari, as the name Jnaneshwari. It is nothing but commentary on Gita. Bhagavad Gita mein it is a commentary. He will be describing, but it is in a Marathi language, right? So in that way. Then comes basically Namdev, then Eknath, finally Tukaram. All of their work is in form of poetry, which is called as Abhangas. So this much you should be knowing the broader perspective of Varkari tradition. So from there, other jobbers, other people who are in a similar profession that you have to list out, right? Who are there? For example, Dadu Dayal, he is a cotton trader. Tukaram was a trader, right? Grocery, regular trader, the grocery people, like that he will be a trader, Tukaram. And similarly, Dadu Dayal was a, he is a cotton trader. So that is basically the textile kind of job. So that is basically what you are supposed to have, a different people, different profession. One inspired by it, Ramananda, his basically idea, who are his disciples. Within this disciple, few are basically Sena is not a Nirguna. Only Kabir, Ravidas were Nirguna. Sena was not basically, this one, right? He is a Suguna saint who was having the Vishnu god, right? So he is basically believing in the Vishnu god. So that similarly. So who are the other Nirguna saints? Who is other Nirguna saints? Two you have understood, Ravidas and Kabir. Dadu Dayal, right? Dadu Dayal is another famous Nirguna saint, and most importantly, Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak ka Ik Onkar, just listen to the music, right? So that Ik Onkar, okay, that music will come in, Rang De Basanti, right? So that movie mein that music will come when they enter Gurudwara, right? So the Ik Onkar means there is one God. Ik means one, Onkar means God, right? There is a one God. So they believe in more of a service to the people, Langar, right? So that is basically the idea of Guru Nanak. So that you should be having a broader understanding. So basically, Suguna, Nirguna, various profession were part of this thing, and because of this, women also can come into the Bhakti movement. Then famous women Bhakti saints. Four major Bhakti saints who are women that becomes important is, one is Lalleshwari from Kashmir. Then if I come to Rajasthan, Mirabai. Then if you come little further down from Karnataka, it is Akka Mahadevi. And then if you further down, then the Tamil Nadu, it is Andal. So these four people their compilation, which god, what is the form of their devotion. Alright? Okay. Next. Who among the following was the first Bhakti saint to use Hindi for the propagation of his Ramananda? Right? He is the first one to start with Hindi, Ramananda. Right? After him, contemporary were Kabir. Right? Dadu Dayal came much later. Right? So, similarly, Tulsidas also. Tulsidas and Dadu Dayal were contemporary to each other. Right? Dadu Dayal was contemporary to Akbar. Tulsidas were contemporary to Akbar. Surdas was contemporary to Akbar. Right? So these are all basically the major Bhakti saints. Salim Chisti was basically the contemporary to Akbar. Right? Sir Hindi. Right? So he is also contemporary to Akbar. So the contemporary to Akbar, major things you should be knowing. So in that way, and when you know that he is the first one to start, and then the same kind of question that you can expect from about Kabir you should be knowing. Kabir ka, what is the basic thing about Kabir that you know? He has written in couplets. That is basically Doha. Right? Doha. Right? And since he basically belonged to a Muslim family, he also talked about there is no Hindu-Muslim unity mein and one God. So there is no Nirguna kind of one. There is no one God as such, in the form basically. So he was having a more of a Nirguna, and he asked for overall the harmony in the society. He, discarded the caste system and other system that you should be knowing. His all dohas or sakis also we will say. This has been compiled in something called Bijak. Right? So he comes after Ramananda. So, somewhere near, the time of, the Ibrahim Lodi kind of stuff. That time he will be part of here. right? So that you should be knowing. Then Tulsidas Dadu Dayal, Nirguna saint. Again, he basically from Rajasthan, Gujarat, but most of the time he spent his time in Rajasthan, right? And he has again Nirguna saint, that you should be knowing, right? And his compilation is there as Dadu Anubhav Vani, or sometimes just Vani also they will write Dadu's Vani. Dadu's Vani means Dadu's words, right? So his followers are called Dadu Panth, that is still alive in Rajasthan. They don't believe in one God. I mean, they believe in one God, not one particular God, right? One God which is a formless, right? So that is basically Dadu. So where it belongs to? One, Rajasthan, during the time of Akbar, and his, the ideas were written as Dadu Anubhav Vani, and his sect is Dadu Panthi. Who are his followers? They are called, we are Dadu Panthis. Kabir Panthis, who are the followers of Kabir, they called as we are Kabir Panthis. Like that you should be knowing, right? So that is the basic again understanding. Then similarly Tulsidas. About Tulsidas also you will be knowing. What is about Tulsidas you should be knowing? What book he has written? Ramcharit Manas. He has written in Awadhi language. That is a dialect of Hindi. Right, so that means that he gave the Ramayana to the common people. Before, the original Ramayana was written in which language? Sanskrit. So he also propagated the idea of Ramayana to the common people, and he is the one who also the originator or the writer of the Hanuman Chalisa. Right, so that will be, you will be knowing, and he was contemporary to Akbar. So if you know the Akbar time, his name you don't need to mug up the year by year. So just have the basic understanding of contemporary. Right, okay. Next, Sheikh Ahmad Sarhindi was contemporary of Ibrahim Lodi. First statement, right? Second statement, Sheikh Nasiruddin Chiragi Delavi was disciple of Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia, right? Aurangzeb was contemporary of Sheikh Salim Chishti. Then Qadri order of Sufis was first introduced in India by Sheikh Niyamatullah and Makhdoom Muhammad Jilani. So which one you want to remove at least? See, now in the exam it is always that all I should be knowing. That should not be the mindset. What you should be knowing? Salim Chishti in the Fatehpur Sikri, he has constructed the tomb of Salim Chishti, right? So the where basically he is someone who has blessed Akbar to have a son. Right, on the same memory of it, he built that Fatehpur Sikri, and tomb of Salim Chishti is also there. So all we know is he is contemporary of whom? Akbar. So that means that who is Aurangzeb? After Akbar will come Jahangir. After Jahangir, his son will be Shah Jahan. So that means that Shah Jahan was grandson of Akbar, right? And his son was Aurangzeb. So it is a great grandson. So there is a lot of difference in their time period. So if he is contemporary to Akbar, he cannot be a contemporary to Aurangzeb, who is coming much later. He is a great grandson of Akbar. So that means that this is wrong. So I can remove this one, right? So that means that 2 is anyways correct now, right? What is 2? Sheikh Nasiruddin Chiragi Delavi was disciple of Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia. Now I have to pick one between 1 and 4, right? Now again, what I know, the Sheikh Ahmad Sarhindi was contemporary of Akbar, right? So first Ibrahim Lodi will come. Ibrahim Lodi will be defeated in the first battle of Panipat by whom? Babar. So then Babar ka son will come, who is Humayun. After Humayun will come his son Akbar, right? So that means that again it's not a contemporary to Ibrahim Lodi, but he is more of a contemporary to Akbar. So that means that the first statement is wrong. Answer will be 2 and 4. Right, now this question is about what? If you look at the question, 1, the time period is being checked. Second, the lineage or the order is being checked. Right, and now if you look at it, there is a Qadri order of the Sufis. Sarhindi belongs to which order of Sufis? Sarhindi belongs to Naqshbandi. Right, Naqshbandi order of Sufism, right? Similarly, Sheikh Nazaruddin Chirag was disciple of Aulia. This is about Chishti order, right? So that means that one statement is about Chishti order, one statement is about Qadri order, one statement is about Naqshbandi order. So that is the different orders, right? So what is now, for this it will lead us to understand what are the different orders of the Sufism. So first we will understand what are the various orders in a very simple language. Again, you don't need to mug up all the things. Only who is the founder, who is the important proponent of that, they should be knowing, and what is their ideological or a philosophical differences you should be knowing. First comes with your Chisti, right? The Chisti is the earliest one to come to India. They start their journey in the Ajmer, right? So now who is this Chistis? Chistis are someone, if you have seen the proper Sufism way, where they will have sama, meditation, they will be doing the fasting, all those things. So they will be believing more in, they will be rejected the Sharia law or the Sharia law they have rejected, and they have not taken the patronage of the rulers also. They told that you don't interfere politics with us. You don't give us any, positions also. We are not accepting anything, right? So that is, Delhi is yet so far. That means that we are very far from Delhi. We are not coming to Delhi. We are not coming to the ruling part. So the Chistis, that is why the Chisti order is highly being asked. Right, it is more about meditation, sama, they will be dancing. That the Sufi that you see in the movies and all, they belong to a Chisti order. Right, they go against the Sharia law. Right, and they do not take the patronage of the, the courts or the, the whatever that you say that the kingdoms are the this thing. So they were far away from this part. However, next comes your Suravadi. Suravadi. So you have to know who are the famous saints of the Suravadi. One or two famous saints. Now what is their idea? They are completely opposite of Chisti. Right. So they were telling we will take the high post. Right. So wherever these people will, have their places where they have, where they do meditation and other things, which we called as Kanka. Kanka means basically where their Sufi mystics will be sitting there and studying this thing, and whatever that they want to run their show, they were not dependent on, for example, Chistis were not dependent on funding from the government. Whatever the common people, we go there and we fund there, from there it will go. They were not taking anything from the, government. Government here in the sense that, the kings I am talking about, so it becomes easy for me to say government. So, right, so that in that way I am telling it, right. However, Suravadi, they were opposite, dead opposite. They told we will take high position, we will be advisor, so we will impose the Sharia law, so we don't, have that sama, meditation, we don't believe in all these things. So that they are opposite of Chisti. So in exam you have to just remember that Chisti, Suravadi were opposite of Chisti. So they took the high position, they took, the ministerial post. They were basically one who are not, in favor of this sama, meditation, singing, dancing, all this they were not very favor of. Right, so they were more orthodox and conservative in that nature. Right, so that you should be knowing about. Then later period mein, two more orders we will get. One is Qadri order, right? One is Naqshbandi order, right? Now Qadri order again believes in, more of a liberal in nature, right? So that you should be knowing. Naqshbandi is completely orthodox, right? So Qadri is completely liberal. However, they were also not believing in sama, meditation and all. They were following Sharia law to an extent, but they were more liberal. They were not very strict with we have to do like this only. Right. So that means that Qadri was more liberal, Naqshbandi were more conservative and opposite. Now this will lead to the Sheikh Ahmad Sirhandi. He will be get influenced. Right. So his ideas was basically, he is basically someone who has talked about Qadri. Right. Sorry, Naqshbandi. Right. His ideas, right, get be inspired. For whom? Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was inspired by Sirhandi. Right, so his idea is more orthodox. So when he came to power, he put the jizya tax. However, his brother Dara Shikoh, right, he is more liberal. He was known for Qadri order. So the fight between two brothers after Shah Jahan is between Dara Shikoh, Aurangzeb. Dara Shikoh was more liberal, who was a follower of Qadri order. His guru was Mian Mir, right? And that becomes your important, and how it was ideologically different with respect to the Aurangzeb, who is conservative orthodox, that you should be knowing. So this question can lead to, since Sirhandi is there, Aurangzeb versus Dara Shikoh also be another theme that you can expect. Then four of them you should be knowing who brought them, right? So that means that answer would be this 2 and 4, and before that Sufi order you see which region which saints they are important, just have the basic understanding. Terminologies of Sufis becomes important. Then there will be two major philosophies of the Sufis, right? One is, I just write it, you just Wahadat ul Wajud, Wahadatul Wajud versus Wahadatul Shuhud, right? So there are two things, Wahadatul Wujud, Wahadatul Shuhud. What is Wahadatul Wujud? That is of unity in being. That means that God and you are not different, you both are same. Wahadatul Shuhud means you are separate, God is separate. It is like Advaita and Dvaita, right? So this basically is more liberal. You and God are same, so everybody can get the God. So God is within you. There is no much restrictions here. That means that, you know, our Chisti, right, or Qadri will belong to more of Wajudul Wajud, Wahadatul Wajud, and remaining two are more orthodox, that is Suravad as well as Naqshbandi belongs to Wahadatul Shuhud. Shuhud means different, right? You and God are different. So this basic idea of philosophies, then some terminology like Zakir, right? Zikr. Zikr means what? You are remembering the God, or it is also sometimes written as Dhikr, right? So Zikr means what? You are remembering the God. How Chistis will remember the God? They chant them, they dance with him, right? So they loudly put the music. How do you remember? I can remember without uttering a word, within my mind only, right? With meditation only. Naqshbandi is basically that. Naqshbandi says you don't know to scream and, you know, sing for the God. If you believe the God, you know, do it in your own this thing. So that is the difference between Naqshbandi and this thing. Again, that you should be having the broader understanding, which is more liberal. Just because Sufi is there, all are more liberal. It is not that way. Within that also there are orders, right? In Chisti order, you should be knowing initially it is Moinuddin Chisti. From there you have Baba Farid. Baba Farid. His disciple will be Niyamuddin Awliya. Right. Now his disciple will be Nasiruddin Chirag Dehrawi. Right. Like that you just have the, you know, the lineage order also. Right. So that would be more than sufficient. Right. Okay. Next. Again you see chronological order. See, you have to see the theme. Every time they are asking contemporary, chronological order, and, you know, the what was their profession, who propagated the idea of, you know, Hindi or the vernacular language. What are the themes here? One, Vedic orders, where you should know the chronology. Who has started first? 8th century Shankaracharya. His philosophy is Advaita Vedanta or Advaita Siddhanta. Advaita philosophy. Dvaita means two, dual. Advaita means monotheism. So you and God are same, Aham Brahmasmi kind of stuff. However, the world that you see is a Maya or a illusion. Right, once your knowledge say you can come out of that illusion, then you can meet the God. But if you are only get involved in this world, then you can never reach the God. Though it is within you, you cannot reach it because you are carried with the illusion. Now once that illusion is basically the ignorance, you are not able to recognize it. So if you want to remove that ignorance, what does that you need? Knowledge. So that means that you have to study, understand it, then you can. So what is the problem with this is very complex for the common people. Common people don't know what is this knowledge, how to gain this knowledge, how to reach the God. So it is basically again not will help the this thing, and his important work becomes important. So the Brahma Sutra ka he has written commentary on Brahma Sutras, which is called Brahma Sutra Bhashya. So that you should be knowing, right? He has written something called Viveka Chudamani. That so his works basically you should be knowing. I am not, you know, teaching that works and everything. Just understand that his works is important. His philosophy is important. He belongs to 8th century, right? Then he had 4 different matas to propagate his idea. In the south region he had one mata, right? That is in Sringeri, right? Similarly in the western region Dwaraka, right? In the northern region Badrinath, right? Like that he had 4 different matas across the India to propagate his ideas. That you should be having. Similarly in the 11th century comes Ramanuja. Then Chaitanya comes in the 16th century, right? So that you should be having. Now what is his idea? Vishishta Dvaita. So there are two words here, right? Vishishta Advait. Vishishta Advait means qualified monotheism. That means that yes, God and you are not different. That may be correct, but at the same time, it is not that you are same also, right? That means that world is real, you are real, everything is real. But you can reach the God. You both are not same from the beginning. I am different, God is different. But through mere devotion, you can become part of God. So you are part, but you are not part also. So only who can reach the God, they will become part, otherwise it is not. So that is a qualified monotheism. So you can reach, otherwise if you cannot reach, if you do not have the devotion, then you are different. If you are having the devotion, then you can become one of it. So it is a qualified monotheism. So you have to be qualified and to become part of the God. You otherwise you are not same. That is Vishishta Advaita. Similarly, you have a Chaitanya. Chaitanya ka philosophy you should be knowing. He belongs to Bengal region, where he is the proponent of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. How he propagated his idea? Through Sankirtanas. This is the medium where chanting of God, always keep chanting the God. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, like that you basically chant the God, right? So he is basically more of a devotion kind of God, right? So that he has talked about. So what is his philosophy? Achintya, Beda, Abeda. What is the meaning of Achintya, Beda, Abeda? Means inconceivable, oneness and different also. That means that you are part of God also, you are different of God also. So if I want to give an example, if there is a wave in the sea, is wave and sea are same? Is wave and sea are same? If there is a sunshine that you are getting from sun, is this sunshine and sun are same? Is it same or not? It is coming from sun only. It is having whatever the sun is having the same quality, the waves will also have the same quality of the water. So in that say, if you see the quality wise, both are same. However, wave is just small part, ocean is a very big part. So in quantity wise, God is infinite. If quality wise, you and God can be same. But God is much larger than you, right? You cannot take separately wave to your home, right? And say that, or a sunshine to your home, right? So that means that you cannot separate sunshine from sun. So that means that you and God are same, because sunshine is part of sun. But is sunshine is the sun? No, sun is different. So that means that you are part of sun? Yes. But are you the sun? No. Sun is much bigger. Are you the ocean? No. So waves are part of ocean? Yes. So wave and ocean are same? Yes, in that sense. But if you look at the quality wise, quantity wise, wave and ocean are very different. Right? Quality wise, both water have the same quality. If you take the wave and take the water and see whatever the ocean ka quality water is there, the same wave water will be there. So that means that they are part also, they are not part also. Now explain how it is. It cannot be explained. Inconceivable. I cannot explain it. So that is the inconceivable. That is why he told Achintya, Beda, Abeda. It is same also, different also. Then explain I can't. It is inconceivable. Right? So that is inconceivable, oneness as well as different. So that is Achintya, Beda, Abeda. So that basic philosophy you have with an example in your mind, so that you don't forget, right? Don't need to go philosophically in depth. With an analogy you can have an understanding, right? Similarly, then comes your different acharyas you should be knowing. Since they have asked about these three, about them you should know about philosophy also. That is, now they will not ask about Chaitanya time period. Now what will be the next question? Or they will not just ask what is Chaitanya's philosophy. They can go about that philosophy now. So that you will be knowing about it. What is the next other kind of acharyas that we should be knowing? With respect to Ramanujacharya, 10th century, in the 13th century we have Madhvacharya. He talked about Dvaita, who is a staunch opponent of Advaita or Shankaracharya. He says that God and you are same, all these concepts are something, you can never be a God, God is different, you are different. So two different entities altogether, right? Real world is also real, everything God has created. You are not never be a part of God. You can get his courtesy, right? But you can never become a God. So you are not, find with. So that is completely, Dvaita is dualism where God and we are completely different, right? Then similarly, you have Nimbarka, who is again 13th century, contemporary of Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya, Nimbarka are contemporary to each other. His philosophy is Dvaita, Advaita. So that means that you are part of God also, you are not part of God also. Right? So similar to basically our Chaitanya ka Achintya Veda Abheda, his faith is also Dvaita, Advaita. So some you are part, sometimes you are not part. Right? So that is your Nimbarka. Finally, in the 15th century or 16th century, we have two major proponents. One is Vallabhacharya, another is Sri Chaitanya. Chaitanya and Vallabhacharya are contemporary to each other. So what he says, Vallabhacharya, Shuddha Advaita, pure monotheism. World is also not Maya. World is also part of God. Right? Everything is part of God. There is nothing called world is, how it is different from basically Advaita or Shankaradaita. Shankaradaita, what he told, world is there, but it is not real, it is a Maya. But he says world is there, that is also part of God. So there is nothing that it is an illusion. It is also real and it is also part of God. So he is telling pure monotheism. Everything is God. Pure monotheism. Shuddha means pure Advaita. So monotheism, but in the purest form. Everywhere there is God. In the world also, here also, everywhere there is a God. So, and what was his way to approach the God was Pushti Marg. What is Pushti Marg? The path of grace. Right? So what is the meaning of it? What is the meaning of it? Let's say there is a kid at home, right? He is actually, there is a chocolate you have kept, which is, you don't want to have to eat him. I have a son, right? So I don't want to eat him a lot of chocolate. What I will do? I keep somewhere in the upper region where he cannot get it. He will be trying to take it, but he won't be getting it. He keeps trying. Then his mother comes. He will be requesting his mother. He will be just, because she pampers him a lot, she gives a chocolate to him. So that means that with the grace she is giving. So that means that the God can come and give you only through the grace. Your job is what? You be, keep on pampering the God. Don't worry that, I should do this, I should know this thing, everything. You should chanting the God. You wake him up the God. Right? So what they do? Initially morning wake him up, give him breakfast to the God. That is through, various, all that you keep doing. God will show the grace towards you. And he will give you the take you. You don't need to put any effort. You don't need knowledge also. You be a good human being. Always do the service to the selfless service to the God without any expectation. Don't ask anything from the God. He is the God. He knows when to grace you. He will give you the grace. So you just involve with the God. That's it. So that is basically with the grace only you get everything. Grace of the God. The path of grace or the Pushti Marg is basically Vallabhacharya. Like that you have the basic understanding of all the philosophies and their works. Alright. Next. Consider the following statement about Sikh Gurus. Banda Bahadur was appointed by military leader of the Sikhs, Guru Tegh Bahadur. First statement, right? Next, Guru Arjun Dev become Sikh Guru after Guru Ramdas. That is basically chronology. Again, first one is also chronology, who has appointed whom. Guru Arjun Dev gives Sikhs one script about Gurumukhi, which is again the contribution of each Guru. When the Ashish sir had discussed what he had told, one chronology, features of Sikhism, then basically which Guru contributed what. These are the different keeps, right? So now what is the answer? Who is Banda Bahadur? Who is Banda Bahadur? What is his contribution in the first place? Is he a Sikh Guru? How many Sikh Gurus are there? See, whenever we are studying this, we are trying to understand the topic also, so that when you study, you should be knowing what it requires. Who is the first? Who is the founder of Sikhism? Guru Nanak, right? So he was there from around 15th century, that is 14 something to 1500 something. So that is in the 15th to 16th century initially he was there. So he was the one during the Lodi dynasty he was there, right? So that means that he has seen the founder of Lodi also, that is Bahulu Lodi. After that his son Sikandar Lodi also, he was a contemporary. He was contemporary of Ibrahim Lodi also, Babur also, right? Because when he was there, he has seen the first battle of Panipat, right? Which has been the where Babur has defeated the Ibrahim Lodi and started the Mughal Empire. So he has written a book how the suffering was happening, that war was happening, people were being killed. This book is called Babur Wadi. That is the words, during the Babur time, whatever happened. Babur Wani is written by Guru Nanak, where the suffering of the common people due to war has been explained. Okay. So, and it has been added in the Guru Granth Sahib also. Right. So, he is the founder of Sikhism. After him comes, he has written everything in Punjabi. Right. He was not having the script at the time of Punjabi, was not having its own script at that point of time. Then comes the second Guru, Guru Angad. Guru Angad is the one who basically made sure that, the Punjabi have its own script. Let's not write in other language. Let's write it in our own script. We have our own language. Let's write it in our own script only. So he is the someone who has written the script, which is found out, script, that is Gurmukh. It is not the Arjun Dev, but Guru Angad is someone who has. Then basically next comes your, right, Amar Das. Guru Amar Das, right? He formalized the Langar. Langar is community kitchen where food will be given for free, right? Then comes your Ramdas. Okay, this Ramdas and Amar Das were contemporary of Akbar. What is this Ramdas did? He found a new city called Ramdaspur. Okay, that has been changed later as Amritsar, right? So Amritsar original name is Ramdaspur, which has been created by the fourth Sikh Guru, Ramdas. Then comes the fifth Sikh Guru, Arjun Dev, right? Fifth Sikh Guru, Arjun Dev, a very, very famous personality that you should be knowing. Ramdas you should be knowing, third Amar Das it is okay, but first you should be knowing, second you should be knowing, fourth you should be knowing, fifth you should be knowing. Fifth is Arjun Dev, right? Now Arjun Dev famous for what? Since there are already Amritsar was there, but there was no monastery or a temple to go to the Sikh people. So he is the one who comes with the golden temple, Harminder Sahib. The golden temple in the Amritsar. His father has built the city, son has built a temple there. That is Harminder Sahib. Right. So that is why he is very, very famous for. And he is the one who compiled complete Guru Granth Sahib. That is Sikh ka holy sculpture has been compiled by him. Now that has become a people ka understanding of what is Guru Nanak saying. So he compiled everything. Though the Angad has done the Gurmukhi script, using the same script, he compiled the Guru Granth Sahib. So that becomes important from the Guru Arjun Dev, and he is the first Sikh Guru to be martyred or killed by the king. Right. So he has been killed by the king. Right. So he has killed by Jahangir. Right. So again, he was a very kind Guru. So when he has started the temple, Sikhism started growing because now they have a temple also, place of their, Gurudwara also basically. So people, that Sikhism started becoming more and more important, and then what has happened, this has, Jahangir mein people have started telling that, the Sikhism is growing everywhere. People are joining, many people who, because there is only one God, no caste system, you can become just, so now many of the other people are also converting themselves to Sikhs, followers of the Sikhism is happening. So it was threatening the the Jahangir, because as a king he wants to propagate the own religion, which is basically being opposed by these other peoples are joining here. So but he was very kind Guru, he was always a very blessing the people, so there was no much reason to kill him. So one fine day what has happened, the Jahangir ka son Khusro is a rebellion against the father itself, he was fighting against the father, so he went to Arjun Dev for blessing. Now as a normal Guru, what you will do? You will bless him, everything that happens good for him. He is not, very violent. He was, Sikh was not having a military and other things. Now, during that reason, he has supported against the basically the existing Mughal Empire, because he is supporting the rebellious leader against the kingdom itself. So he blessed him. Based on that, the king has executed. Right. So that is why he is the first Sikh Guru to be martyred. That is killing for his own king. So that you should be knowing. So after that comes the Har Gobind Singh. right? So that is 6th, 7th and 8th are not really important, right? They are, one of them even dies at a very small age, right? And so you don't need to know about it. But the 10th Guru, 9th Guru is very important. That is Tegh Bahadur. Guru Tegh Bahadur is 9th, right? He is also killed by whom? Aurangzeb, right? Again, he was also being martyred by Aurangzeb, right? Then comes Guru Gobind Singh, is the last and final Guru. This Guru Gobind Singh decided that there is nothing called lineage of Gurus. One Guru after his son become next Guru, that should not happen. Guru culture is being stopped here. Whatever that you are coming for the temple and you are doing. So there is nothing called Guru culture anymore. So the 10th king was Guru Gobind Singh, and his sons were also being killed by Mughals. So at that point of time, what he did, he approached the Banda Bahadur, right? He approached him in Nanded in Maharashtra, where he was having his own monastery and he was doing that yoga and other things basically, right? His original name was Lachman Dev. Okay, he belongs to Kashmir. After that, he was a hunter. One fine day, he hunted, a deer which is pregnant. After seeing that, he felt that what I am doing, he left his job of hunter, then become more spiritual, started having a monastery, practice yogic and other things he was doing. And one fine day, Guru Gobind Singh came to him, asked for a help. You are the one who can lead the Sikh now, because you are someone who is very well doing this. So now, when he tried to do some tricks with Guru Gobind Singh that did not work, then he decided that, okay, Guru Gobind Singh is much more than me. I want to become his slave. Then he told, I am your Banda. Banda means I am your slave. You tell me any order, I will follow it. That is when his name has been changed to Banda Bahadur Singh. Then he started a military Sikh state. Sikh state was done by him. After that, confederacy, missiles, everything is there. Finally, Maharaja Ranjit Singh will come. So then it is more become a state as a political unit it will happen. Before the religion, he make it a military state. After that, he started winning and getting the war, getting win everything. Then they become, so that is basically you should have. So it is not Guru Tegh Bahadur as the Band Bahadur, but his son, Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru is someone who asked him to come. So that means that this statement is wrong. This statement is also wrong. Now Ramdas was 4th Guru, Arjun Dev was 5th Guru. So that means that Arjun Dev became the 6th Guru after Ramdas. It's a correct statement, right? So 2 only will be your answer, the first one and third one. So just have the contribution, importance, and why he has been killed. That you should be knowing. Why rather than why, who has killed him basically. Now when someone has killed him, you can understand the chronology also. Now 5th Guru is killed by whom? Jahangir. That means that Jahangir and Arjun Dev were contemporary, right? So now you know that 4th Guru, Ramdas, Amar Das, these were behind the Arjun Dev. That means that they should be contemporary previous king, right? That is Akbar, right? Like that you can try to connect. If you go further down, then Angad Dev is there. If you go further down, Guru Nanak is there. That means that here if you go further down, Akbar ka before Humayun is there. Humayun ka before Babur is there. So like that you try to connect. Similarly, Tegh Bahadur, he has been killed by Aurangzeb. That means that he should be contemporary to him, right? After that, basically, this Banda Bahadur has also been killed later. By whom? Farrukh Siyar, right? The next Mughal king, Farrukh Siyar, kills the Banda Bahadur when he becomes militarily actively active. Then he starts fighting a war against basically the Mughals itself. He is also being captured and killed, right? Now this is the same thing. Why he is being killed? That is, Guru Tegh Bahadur. He was also a kind of king, Guru, where people were having a huge following. And at that point of time, Kashmir Pandits were basically forced to convert to Islam. So now what they did, they went to him and asked for their help. What he did, you go and tell the king, Guru Tegh Bahadur is our king, our follower, our Guru. If he converts, we will convert. You just convert him, we all will convert. So they will take him and force him to convert, but he will not convert, then they will be executed. So that is basically about Guru Tegh Bahadur. Just having a story about it, you will be remembering what is the story. So that is about 6, right? Next. Baba Tukaram was contemporary of which Mughal emperor? Bhakta Tukaram. He is again in the 17th century. He born just after Akbar. Again, this you won't be knowing as such basically, right? His life was basically with two kings. One is Jahangir, another is Shah Jahan, right? Shah Jahan. So his initial part, his early life was with Jahangir. His later part was with Shah Jahan, right? So that is you should be knowing about. Babur is much earlier. Akbar, he born after the death of Akbar, right? So Akbar is also not contemporary to him. So it is the Jahangir you can take. Aurangzeb again came much later, right? So Aurangzeb after Shah Jahan comes the Aurangzeb. So he is contemporary to Shah Jahan and Akbar. If the Shah Jahan was there, then that would have been more appropriate, because in his peak time when he is preaching, then Shah Jahan was the king. When he born, then basically for first 20 years of his life, the Jahangir was the king, right? Alright. So this is again, if you see the question what it is not, if you don't know the answer, it's fine. But what is the question that is being asked? Contemporary. What was the previous question? Contemporary. So contemporary with respect to kings become very, very important. That is one theme you have to study. When you are studying Sufism, you will be studying them separately as a separate. Tukaram ka you are mugging up, Namdev ka you are mugging up, but you are not putting the chronology, you are not putting the contemporary kingdoms. So that is why, when the question comes, you will get confused. So always this is one theme that you should be always repeatedly being checked. Not about them you have mugged up, whether you have really understood when they came, what they taught, who was the king. Overall picture you are having or not, that is being checked. Alright. So again, Tukaram, I have already told. Abhanga, about him also we have already discussed, right? Varkari tradition you should be knowing, right? So those things that Parandapur, where here is the basic place of them, Abhangas, and he is a grocer or a trader by profession. That should be, you should be knowing, and he is also contemporary to Shivaji, right? In Maharashtra, whom he is contemporary to? Shivaji, right? Then who is the king, or who is the guru of Shivaji? Ramdas. Ramdas was guru to Shivaji. That you should be knowing. So they are basically contemporaries. Alright? Alright. Now, who among the following is not a proponent of Bhakti cult? Who is not belong to Bhakti cult? Now, Bhakti is, personal devotion. Not that you are having a religion and doing it, but it is a personal devotion between one and two. That is, you are chanting the God. That is Bhakti. Understanding the Bhakti. Bhakti means it is a personal devotion from one to one. Nagarjuna, who is he? Founder of Madhyamika school, we had discussed, right? Who has given the concept of Shunyata or the emptiness, right? So he is basically a proponent of Buddhist school, not a Bhakti cult. Now, Tukaram, again the repeated, you should be knowing about Tukaram. Tyagraj, he is basically someone who chanted the Rama, right, through his kirtanas. He is one of the trinity of Carnatic music. There are three people involved with Carnatic music, which we call it as a trinity. They belong to a same period, compiled or composed lot of kirtanas. He is basically from Telugu, right? He composed kirtanas in his Telugu, right? And it is about Rama Bhakti, right? And other two contemporary to him in the trinity of music was Muthuswami Dikshit and then Shama Shastri. Shama Shastri and Muthuswami Dikshit you should be knowing, who from this they can get inspired. Now with Vallabhacharya, you know that again he is Shuddhadvaita Pushti Marg, right? So this you should be knowing, right? So only what is about them, and they belong to 16th century, contemporary to Chaitanya. This much you should be having the understanding. Alright. Next. With reference to religious history of medieval India, Sufi mystics were known to pursue which of the following practice? Meditation and control of dam, control of breath. Right? Correct? The Chisti that we are talking about, what they were doing? They were influenced by Nathapanthis. Right? There is a Nathapanthi order who believes in Shiva. Right? And these Sufis was basically inspired by Nathapanthis. Right? So, who are Nathapanthis? Who are the worshippers of Shiva, who believed in meditation and other things to reach the God. Right? So, who has, the proponent of Hatha Yoga. Right? So, from there they inspired and started these practices. So, that is one meditation and control of breath. So, this is called as Hans Dam. Hans Dam means controlling the dam. Dam means basically breath. Right. Similarly, severe ascetic exercise on lonely place. That is yogika posture and doing other things. That is also correct. Then recitation of holy songs that arouse the state of ecstasy in their audience. That is sama we are discussing. Sama means singing the song. Right. So that is basically your right, which has led to the practice of qawwalis. The foundation of qawwalis has happened to with the Sufism because they had that samame, they were basically reciting a God. Right. So that is all of them are correct practices of Sufi. Now this majorly belongs to Chishti order, but not with the Suravadi, Qadri, or for that matter Naqshbandi. Well, these were not with more of meditation and other things. But Qadri and Chishti were more liberal. Naqshbandi and Suvaradi were more orthodox and conservative. Right, like that you should have the broader understanding. Alright. Then Nathapanthi, since they have influenced by the Nathapanthi, about Nathapanthi you should know. Nathapanthi were majorly a part of Siddhas. So you should be knowing the Siddha tradition, Nathapanthi tradition. Again, what they are, what is their practice, how they were approaching the God. Not in very detail about the philosophy, but Nathapanthis and this thing you should be having the broader understanding. Now, consider the following Bhakti saints: Dadu Dayal, Guru Nanak, and then Tyagraj. Who among the following were preaching when the Lodi dynasty fell and Babur took over? What Guru Nanak has written? Babar Vani. So he should be seeing the entire scene. So two should be there. Our approach is also like this. Right. Now, Dadu Dayal, who was contemporary of whom? Akbar. Right. So he was a contemporary of Akbar. So that means that he cannot be there when the initially it has started. Right. So that means that Dadu Dayal cannot be part of it. Right. So that means that that is just having a broader understanding can help you to do this. Right. So that means that if I remove 1, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Now 3. Tyagraj. When Tyagraj came? In the 18th century. During the time of British. Right. At that point of time, much later compared to this. Right. First battle of Panipat is what is that we are being talked about. Having the broader understanding about that. Again, the king's contemporary saints. Again, if you look at it, how the question is being asked. Now, why this question? Many a time people fail. They would have studied about Guru Nanak in detail, separately, mugging up all their contribution. When this kind of question comes in the exam, they have not prepared this dimension itself. That is why the question becomes very tough. But if you see, this is one dimension. If you have prepared, many of the question would have been very easy from this set. This is what they are checking. During whose time he was there, which time this was. They are also linking it to the contemporary things that was happening. Right. Next. Bijak is composition of Dadu Dayal. Is it correct? Bijak is composition of what? Compilation of Kabir. Right? Kabir ka doha or basically, Saki. Also we call it as, it has been done in two-liner couplets. Right? So that basically we can see, and it has been compiled in a book called Bijak. Right? And Dadu Dayal mein what they have been compiled with? Dadu Dayal Vani or Dadu Anubhav Vani or Sirf Vani also it will be fine. Just Vani also it is fine. Right? Then the philosophy of Pushti Marg. Who has propounded Pushti Marg? Vallabhacharya. What they have given? Madhvacharya. Right? So this is wrong. You should be studying about Madhvacharya also. Dvaita philosophy. What are his books? 13th century. What he has been spoken about. He has converted Mahabharata commentary and Mahabharata he has given. That you have to be studying about. And Pushti Mark you should be studying about. That is the path of grace, Vallabhacharya, Shuddhaitva you have to understand, and how it is different from Advaita in a very simple way. Advaita mein world is not real, it is illusion. But Shuddhaitva mein world is also part of God only. There is nothing called illusion. Right? So that is your Vallabhacharya. Right? So philosophy, this is also wrong. This is also wrong. Vijak is Kabir. And about Kabir we have already studied, and that means that answer is neither 1 nor 2. Right? Now, Saint Nimbarka was contemporary of Akbar. You see the question, how many questions you are getting the same contemporary. right? So now again, though, that is how, once you understand, analyze it, that has to become part of your study style, right? Saint Kabir was greatly influenced by Sheikh Ahmad Sirhindi, right? Now all of them we have studied, the same repeat names only coming. Nimbarka was contemporary to whom? Forget about this question. Nimbakacharya, Dvaita, Advaita, who was contemporary to whom? Madhvacharya. I told Madhvacharya and Nimbarka are contemporary. They belong to which century? 13th century. Now, when did Akbar came? 1526 May first battle has happened, right? After that, Babur is there for 4 years. Then for next 20-25 years, you will be having Humayun. Within that, in between also Humayun was not there. Suru dynasty will come. That we will keep it aside. But 1556 say 1605 is where Akbar has come. So that is in the 16th century. But Nimbarka was there in the 13th century. So can they become contemporary to each other? No. So that is your basic understanding. It is not mugging up of his time, right? Similarly, who was Sirhindi was contemporary of whom? When I discussed about Sirhindi, Naqshbandi order, who has been greatly influences whom? The Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was greatly influenced by Sheikh Sirhindi. Sirhindi was contemporary of whom? Akbar, right? So that is 16th century. When was Kabir was there? Ramananda, that is in the 15th century. Kabir was much earlier than Akbar itself. So that means that can Kabir get influenced by someone who born after him? No, right? So when you're getting my point. So the question is what they have given, and second, you tell me about their philosophies. If you are not getting their time period, what is the philosophy of Sirhindi? Naqshbandi order. No, complete Shayala, no practice. No, you should be too much of religious only, right? Orthodox conservative. Who was Kabir? More liberal, no God, Hindu Muslim unity. So he can be influenced by him? Is it a possibility? No. Both have a completely diametrically opposite viewpoint towards the system. One, they were, he came after him, that is one point. Second, their idea itself was very different, right? So that means that second statement is also incorrect. They are just checking here, you are mugging, not mugging up, you are just maybe he would have influenced, who knows? Whether you are thinking or not. That is what they are saying. One, either through the timeline they are changing, giving someone who is coming after him. Second, basically what they are doing, two diametrically opposite philosophy only they are giving. One is more orthodox conservative, one is more liberal and open, anybody can practice. So Kabir can never be influenced by this. Kabir was influenced by Ramananda, right, who was his disciple. Though Ramananda was a Saguna, that is the beauty of it at that point of Bhakti said. There was no force. I am, a Bhakta of Rama, but my disciples were not believing in one God. That is basically Ravidas is not believing in one God. Kabir is not believing in one God. Sena, though he believes in Vishnu, his patron, right? So then Ravidas is Nirguna. Who is his disciple? Mirabai, who is again Suguna, right? Believes in Krishna. He is not believing in one God, but his disciple believe in one God, right? That is basically the beauty of the Bhakti movement, Guru Shishya Vamparama, that they are only talking about the philosophy at large rather than following the same thing. Overall, the ideas has been propagated, then they find their own truth. Every follower disciple will find their own truth with the God. They can have Suguna or they can be Nirguna, right? So that is with your Bhakti movement. If you can see, around 15-20 questions has been asked, and all of the question that has been asked at the very broader level. And once you prepare, only within that line only everything is there, right? We have seen first what it was, then if you look at the question, where it was, right? Now Mughals questions have been very less, one thing, right? In this class we study about Mughals up to death of Aurangzeb, right? Because after that it is a later Mughals and modern India we will connect with it, so that is one thing, because after that the kingdoms with respect to the medieval period gets over, modern India will start. First, what here again also, before they were asking lot many questions, that too with the smaller battles and other things. Now it is more about their contribution with respect to culture is being asked, or the administrative reforms which was more people friendly, Todarmal, Zabat system based on the Dasala, right? So that is, what is Zabat system or Dasala? Right, before what was doing? King used to come, look at your land, say, ah, this is good land. You have to give me this much rupees. Right, so there was no calculation, there was no scientific why that amount was fixed. Right, somebody officer used to come, he just feel that, okay, you are getting irrigation, okay, this much you have to pay. Right, here what they were doing, they are having a dasala system, Todarmal devised a dasala system, dasala means 10 years. Right, so what he did, he will take the average return of the last 10 years. What was his, production in the last 10 years in this land? 10 years back, how much he got next year. So he will have a proper idea whether really fertile, whether, the production is much higher. After that, he used to fix a price. The fix of the price is not based on a, Kankat system. Right, there is a Kankat system which just says that before it was there. Right, what was their Kankat system? Kankat system mein revenue used to estimate just through the bare eyes, guessing work. It is good, you give me this much. It is in the water area, irrigated area, you give me this much. Now that, the completely the tier famine comes, nothing comes, still he has to give. So that is a more forceful kind of thing. So no average is being taken, nothing is being, that is Kankat system. Right. Along with that, Gulu Bakshi system is also there. That is crop sharing system, or sometimes it is also called Batai. What they do? They don't go before the harvesting. They will wait. Once everything is getting harvested, once everything is taken out, then they will pile up all the, let's say if I have a rice, I will pile up all the rice that has been done through my land. Then king will come, he will take one part of it. This is my part. 1/3 is my part, remaining is your part. So that is basically more better because it is a crop sharing system. Right. Now Dasala is much more advanced. That is revenue estimation not taken 1 year in advance, but the 10 years ka basically this thing, and based on that, some land we giving lot of production, they will be put more taxes. Some will be giving less, they will be have to pay the less tax. So it is not burdening someone who is not with the this kind of land. So that is basically you have to study. So similarly, you have to study Jagirdari, right? Which is a kind of similar to Iktadari that we have studied, right? What was Iktadari? You know that the Ikta land used to be given in lieu of cash or in the salary. Instead of giving you cash in the salary, we will tell you that you collect the revenue from this land and you take that. That Iktadari we have studied during the period of Delhi Sultanate, which was introduced by the Iltumish, that we have studied how Alauddin Khilji has changed it. Later, how basically Iktas has made hereditary by the Firoz Shah Tughlaq, that we have studied in the last class, right? Now, similar to that, Jagirdari was there. Jagirdari was, much more stricter compared to Iktadari, which was again during, that is basically the Mansabdari system. Within Mansabdari, Jagirs are nothing but estates, flats. That, similar to Iktas, Jagirs were there. And this Mansabdari, what is their job? They have to give military support to the king when asked. So there will be two different things. Now all Jagirs are not same here. Some will be having a high position, ministerial position would be given. So for them, Zat used to be given. Zat means rank used to be given. Similarly, Sawars, how many horses you can keep. Two things has been assigned to them. What is your rank? As per your rank, your salary is decided. Your position in the office will be decided. Second, how many horsemen you have to provide during the crisis, that will be decided. So that is basically, and the land that they can get that revenue is called Jagirs. But Jagirs were more temporary, much more transferable. It was not like hereditary. So 3 to 4 years you would be given. Next 3 to 4 years someone else will be given. So it was frequently transferring. So that means that the center had lot of control, unless Iktas. Iktas mein central has started losing the control because Iktas become hereditary, right? So however in the Jagirdaris or the Mansabdari system, it did not become hereditary. It was transferable most of the time. Only 3 to 4 years temporarily they used to give. You earn the money, we earn the money, kind of thing. So in that way, it was a central authority was much more. So that is that kind of system you should be knowing. Then their contribution with respect to art and culture, right? So with respect to architecture, what Akbar has done, what Humayun has done, what basically Jahangir or Shah Jahan, Taj Mahal ka you will be knowing. Much important during the Shah Jahan period. Then Aurangzeb may decline. Similarly, the painting during the Akbar, then it reached the zenith during his son Jahangir. So that is painting also becomes very, very important with respect to them. Now before they were asking political events, but now they are asking the last 50, because now I have question from let's say from 2001 to 25. So that is why few questions that looks very factual are not needed in the present context. If you look at the last 15 years ka question, no question on the politically who fought with whom, undercover, that has not been asked. Okay. Now first we will understand the chronology just for your 5 minutes, then we will go to the topic. Right. So who came? 1526. Simple, we'll have simple history. So not too much complex, because here Mughals may will not have. 1526, Battle of Panipat has happened. Then during the Battle of Panipat, who came? Babur founded the Mughal Empire. This is the first part. He was there from 1526 to just 4 years. That is up to 30 he was there. Okay. Then came from 1530 who came? His son Humayun, sorry, not his son. Humayun came. Right, he is not his son. Humayun came. Right. So now Humayun was there for first 10 years. That is up to 1540 he was there. Then he was basically a kind of a leader who was always be confused. Sometimes he do this, sometimes he do this. Right. And he had an Afghan noble called Sher Shah Suri. Right. Or also Fari, this name is basically. But he was there in the Bihar region. He wanted to bring, if you know that the Lodi dynasty was the first Afghan dynasty. Now this Afghan noble wanted to bring back the Afghan rule again in Delhi. So he waited for a situation when Humayun was weak. He fought a battle. So there are two important battles that you should be knowing. Battle of Chausa, then Battle of Kannauj. These two battles become important. Just have the known about them. Then he defeated Humayun. Humayun fled, or he basically ran away. Then Sher Shah Suri, Sur dynasty has been started, and Sher Shah Suri become head of it. Right. Now he was there up to 1540 to 1555. 15 years he ruled properly. Right. Then one day he died. Right. How he died? Again last class we have discussed. Sher Shah Suri died while fighting against the Fort Killinjar. The bomb came back to him, and that gunpowder, he died. So when he died, Humayun felt that okay, again chance is there, right? So he basically requested the Persian king. He took the support, and then again he attacked the Delhi. Then weak rulers were there. Humayun came back and started his kingdom in 1555 again. Here Sur dynasty, Sher Shah Suri. Sher Shah Suri ka achievement you should be knowing, because he is someone who was having a good administration. Many of his administration was copied by Akbar in the later. So Sher Shah Suri as a king becomes very important. One Grand Trunk road he has constructed. For that he is important. He instructed a standardized silver coin called rupiah. Right. So that is also future mein Mughal mein rupiah become main. So then many administrative reforms he has done. So that is why, and he died in this. Right. Then Humayun comes in 1555. Maybe around 7-8 months he was there. Then what happened? He went to library, right? And with the book, he fell from the staircase and died, right? And that library is also constructed by Sher Shah Suri, right? So that is the beauty of it, right? So in the same library where he took back again he died in that library only, right? So Sher Mandal it was called as, right? So again here died there. So then comes his son, that is 13 years ka son, that is Akbar, right? So Akbar came in 1556. Almost for next 50 years he was there. You don't need to exactly, not 49 years, you can remember as 50 years, 1556 to 1605. From 1605 to here Akbar, after his death, who came? 166 to 1627 was Jahangir, that is for 22 years. After that 27 to 57 or 58 or 1628 to 58 was basically whom? Shah Jahan, right? 58 mein Aurangzeb will come, he ruled for next 50 years. That means that 1658 to 1707, again 49 years you can keep, right? So this is your Aurangzeb, right? So then literary activities during their period also becomes important. This much you should be remembering, right? The time period, how do I remember always is, it is not that I have mugged up all the years and come here, right? So how I remember is, starting year I will remember 1556, next 4 years, that is fine. Then basically I know that Akbar has ruled for 49 years. Aurangzeb also ruled for 49 years. So death of Aurangzeb is 1707, that everybody knows. So go back to 50 years. Right. So that is basically where Aurangzeb passed. Before that 30 years, that is Shah Jahan. Before that 20 years, that is basically your Jahangir. Then 50 years of Akbar. Right. Like that, just have a broader understanding, then you will be knowing, so that you will be in a position to connect the things. Right. So, and their contribution, this is what you are supposed to know. Now we will see the question. Okay. The motive behind Shah Jahan's bulk campaign. Right. Again, these are something very political. Now you don't need to worry about these kind of questions. This asked in back in early 2000. Now they are not asking the political history of them. But if you know, you can answer. Right. Balkh and Badakhshan. Right. So, Mughal Empire mein Afghanistan, Kabul will come. Right. So, beside that you have a Balkh and Badakhshan king. Here what was happening? Here basically Uzbeks were revening. These Uzbeks were having a civil war. There is an unrest always happening. When two different kings, they are fighting always. So now it will threat your bordering state, which is Kabul. Now what is this Shah Jahan wants? He want to concentrate at the Delhi. As long as Kabul is not peaceful, he cannot concentrate on Delhi. So now how I can do, because already civil war is there, not strong king is there. I only go there, intervene. I send my kingdom there. Whoever want my puppet will be there. I will make him a king, so that he will always have a close relation with the neighboring state, that is Kabul. So that was his idea. So he sent both of his sons. First, Murid Khan has gone. Then basically Aurangzeb has gone. Both has been defeated there also, because the civil war they could not win. So that was one of the major debacle that has happened. Right. So it was basically to secure a friendly ruler in Badakhshan, which bordered the Kabul. So Mughals had two threats. One from the Uzbeks, another from Persia. That is Safavids. Okay, these were the two threats. Right. One is the Kandahar region, one in this region. So these two are the major threats that you are having. But again, political history is not really important. Before they were asking it. Now you don't need to worry from the last 15-20 years. Have the broader idea. Story days of one line if you have, that is more than enough. Don't have that battle name also, king associated with them also. That much detailing is really not required. Right. And if they go too deep and asking, anyways, nobody will answer it. Only few who has history optional may answer it. That will not bother you for your cutoff. Right. We are not searching for that one question. Somehow we want to make it correct. This always you have to keep in mind. How far I can go for that one question. Right. So that is the basic idea. Right. Because if you have seen the last year question, right? There was one question, India won against Nepal in first Kabaddi, Kho World Cup. Right? Indian men has defeated Nepal men. That is first question. Second statement was Indian women defeated Nepal women in the first Kho World Cup. Since it's the first Kho and both of them has won by India, you should be knowing it. I am not denying that you should not be knowing it, because fourth question has started from last 3-4 years. And if it is something very, very important, then they are asking. First time ICC test, final match has happened. Right? Then they had asked about the test. Right? Similarly, Olympic has happened. Then they will ask. Chess tournament, first time that has happened in India. Then they will ask. Like that, whenever it is the first time something significant or Indians have participated, then they will ask. But what was the question last year? They gave, India has defeated Nepal in men's category with a certain score. They have given the scores also. Similarly, they have given the second statement, Indian women have defeated Nepal women with certain score. Now, at the max, what I can study? Who won? Who is the runner-up? That much I can study. Can you study the score also? Kho ka fine 35-27 may they defeated. Now, what they have done? They have interchanged the score of women match to men match to women match. Right now, people who have been broader idea will be knowing that yes, India hold the first World Cup against Nepal, they defeated. So they will be knowing. But do you really remember the score also? No. So now basically, somebody just knowing the first two statement, both looks correct. They have put both of them are correct. But then both of them went wrong because of the scores were interchanged. Now, is it really possible for me for next year? I have decided that, this question also I should not build. So something new happens. For example, Gukesh wins, certain grandmaster chess, right? First time in India with 3.5 into 2.5. So can I remember that score? Is it really possible? Just because last year asked, don't leave into that trap, right? 1 year 2016 May, recently some 12-foot ka banana has been found where it was there, Andaman Nicobar. Next, can I find that, which is the largest cucumber, which is the, so that is not really possible, right? So you should always have your basic idea. Something are beyond our, these are the questions then anyways to leave. I don't care, this will not decide the cutoff. So this always have in your mind. I don't run behind the minute things. Major things you should be doing. That everybody is doing, I will be doing. Nobody is doing, I want to do, that attitude you should not have. I am also just a part of that nobody, right? So I am not doing it, right? But rather in other question where I know my basic and apply basic, I can get them correct. I will work more there rather than finding one small fact and wasting my time. Because more the fact you learn, basic understanding, the logic apply will go. Because you are becoming, now you see someone who is preparing among your friends also for Group C exam. Now when you go them, they will be knowing the dates of amendment also, right? Who was the president at that point of time, right? Exactly, they will be knowing those things basically, but you won't be knowing, right? Because their exam requires that. More they study like that, if you ask them any concept of economy, they won't be knowing. Because more you start studying that factually, consuming, start remembering lot of information, other part of your brain, how to eliminate, how to think, that will stop going down. So that means that you should be having that limit. This I will not go beyond, right? So like that basically this was asking before, you just know the story. This was the problem, this is what they did. Who was the king in Uzbekistan at that point of time? Who was the king in Balkh at that point of time? That detailing is not possible to remember, right? So just have the broader understanding, right? Similarly, next, Battle of Darmat was fought between. Now let's say you don't know. Muhammad Ghori and Jai Chand, what was this bat? Bat was Chandwan. Battle of Chandwan. This we will be knowing because with Ghori we had two battles, right? Battle of Terrain 1 and Battle of Terrain 2, then Battle of Paipon. So here it was Jai Chand was there, king of Gahadwala, right? He has been defeated by Muhammad Ghori. So two battles, battle of, two battles which you know, Terrain you should be knowing. Who fought the Terrain battle? Prithviraj Chauhan. In first battle he won, second battle he lost, right? So that you will be knowing. And another is Battle of Chandwan, that is with the Muhammad Ghori. So first is cannot be your, so this is battle of this, so this cannot be answer. Then Babur and Afghans. Babur defeated Afghan in which battle? Who was the Afghan rulers? Lodi dynasty. So he has defeated them in first battle of Panipat, right? So that is basically the explanation about battle of Panipat. So rather than Lodi they have given, Afghans they have given. So that they are connecting whether you know that Afghans are only Afghan rule in Delhi Sultanate for whom? Lodi dynasty, right? So this is all connecting the things and making them in the, apply them in the exam. So that is battle of Panipat. Now, Aurangzeb and Dara Shikoh, we don't know. Ahmad Basha, Durrani and Marathas. Which battle is this? When the Maratha empire has completely decimated, which battle? That is third battle of Panipat. So this is basically Ahmad Shah, Durrani and Marathas is mostly about third battle of Panipat, right? So that means that this is about Aurangzeb and Dara Shikoh, because both were king of Shah Jahan, right? The Dara Shikoh was the first king, right? And he is favorite to Shah Jahan, right? More liberal, right? He himself has translated Upanishads, right? The great secret, right? Sir I Akbari, he has written, right? He has written Sir I Akbari, which has translated version, of your Upanishads to, what is that? Persian language, right? So which has been given as this great secrets, what they have given. Since also he has written something as Mujmul, something word that is there, and I am not able to recollect that book, but that book is about how Sufism and Vedanta school are having a similar thought process. The meaning of it is mingling of two oceans. So that is basically mingling of two ocean or merging of two ocean. That also he has written. So he is more of liberal and having that kind of thought process. He has been inspired by whom? Qadri philosophy, that is more liberal. And his philosopher was, or his guru was Mian Mir. Dara Shikoh ka guru was Mian Mir, who belonged to Qadri lineage of Sufism, more liberal. Right? Then Mian Mir, after his death, right, his disciple will be his follower. So that you should be having a broader understanding. Right? Now, complete opposite to him is Aurangzeb, orthodox, conservative. So he did not follow Qadri, Sufi order. Rather, he followed Naqshbandi Sufi order. Who is the proponent? Sirhandi, who was the contemporary of Akbar, more orthodox, more this thing. He was the this thing. So that means that he is, there was a not just political battle was happening. There were ideological battle was also happening between Aurangzeb and Dara Shikoh. So that can be asked. Now second, if you look, Shah Jahan had 4 sons. One is Shah Uja, he was there in the Bengal region, another rage in the Afghan region, then there is Aurangzeb, then finally there is a Dara Shikoh. Dara Shikoh was the elder. In many of the kingdoms, there is something called, primogeniture. That means that, whoever is the eldest king, he will become this thing. But here it was not like that. Everybody can have the same this thing. Whoever is the strongest, he will become. So that you should have the understanding with respect to this. The terminology is there, where eldest becomes this thing. That terminology you should be knowing, right? So that's it about it. Primogeniture. So that spelling may I always, right? So that is something. I'm more of a person who identifies, right? The primogeniture. So that means that the eldest son will be the ruler, right? So that principle was not there during the Mughal period. That you should be knowing with respect to the battle of this. They had fought many battles. Again, this was the decisive battle. So that is why you should be knowing it. But now they are not asking the battle's name as such, just have the broader understanding. All right. Again, how did the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan's reign came to an end? How Shah Jahan? Sorry, Jahandar Shah, not Shah Jahan. Jahandar Shah. Who is Jahandar Shah? After Aurangzeb comes the Jahandar Shah. Okay. So again, these are again same. These kind of questions are not being asked, so I am not forcing them much now. But he was defeated by his nephew in the battle, who was nothing but Farooq Siyar. Who is his nephew? Farooq Siyar. Okay. Right. So who has been died due to slip in the climbing down the step? Humayun, right? So Humayun, this is about Humayun, right? He was disposed. Who was this Wazir? Wazir means PM, right? Prime Minister, who will be having at that point of time after the weak rulers that has come after the Aurangzeb, the Wazir ka rule has started coming. So whoever is the strong, basically nobles, who will be guiding the king, because king himself is not strong. So whoever is the king, the prime minister, who will be very strong, who will be controlling the kingmaker ka era that was. So his kingmaker, Jalandhar Shah ka kingmaker was Zulfikar Khan. Zulfikar Khan. They are the kingmakers. Now the Zulfikar Khan also has been died with Jalandhar Khan in the battle. So that is how both of them died. He is not disposed by Wazir. Wazir also died, Zulfikar Khan, as well as king also sent. Then who is next came? Farooq Siyar came. Who is the Wazirs of Farooq Siyar? Sayyid brothers. 2 brothers of Sayyid brothers, who are actually made Farooq Siyar as the leader. Then Farooq Siyar went against them. They killed Farooq Sayar itself, and then Muhammad Shah the Rangila has been come to the picture, right? So they are basically Sayyid brother. So you should be having that Sayyid brother, Zulfikar Khan, that is basically the kingmakers ka idea, right? So again, that is later Aurangzeb, how the transition has happened. Broader idea is sufficient. Again, all the small names you don't need to mug up. But the major changes that has happened, you should be knowing, right? Among the time of which Mughal emperor did English East India Company establish its first factory in India? Now try to connect the things. Now it is all about connecting the things. When is the basically first factory has come? Where has first English factory has come? Machilipatnam is a temporary factory. Permanent factory where it has come? Madras. Madras has constructed much later. It is Surat, right? Surat, the first factory has been set up. Machilipatnam is, if you have Machilipatnam also, Surat also, then it is Machilipatnam. But Machilipatnam was a temporary factory. So in 1600, East India Company started. 1608 May, who came? Hawkins came, right? So Hawkins came and requested to set up a factory in Surat, but permission was not given, because at that point of time in Surat, Portuguese were there. They were already strong navy force. So Mughals did not have navy with them. So with the navy, for navy, they were depending on European powers who are already well built navies were there. Why we should invest time, right? We built more on cavalries. For them we will depend upon them. So they don't wanted to go against Portuguese. So they told we cannot give you in Surat, right? Then basically 1611 May, the Battle of Swally has happened. The Battle of Swally has happened between Portuguese and English, and English defeated Portuguese. Now that means that who is supreme now? English. Now again they went to court of Mughals and asked, now give me to open a factory at Surat. Now they felt that they are also strong. Now we don't need to worry about Portuguese. So then it has been given in 1613. Okay. Then 1615 May, Thomas Roe came. Right. Thomas Roe has come to the again Mughal court and requested not only in Surat, give the permission to build in other parts also. Every time for new city we cannot keep coming to you. Give us the permission to give fort in every factory in the every port. So that has been given by the Thomas Roe. And another important is during the Farooq's year, the golden firman has been given. That is Dastak has been given, where they can trade without paying anything to the government. That happened in during the Farooq's year. So these are the major event. So that means that in the 1613 Surat has been basically the first proper factory with the Surat has been constructed. When in that Surat, that means that 1613 who was the king? That is the basic question now. 1556 to 1605, 50 years, who was there? Akbar was there. Then 1605 to 1627-28, Jahangir was there. So that means that Thomas Roe came to the court of which king? 1615 he came, Jahangir. 1608, Hawkins came to whose court? Jahangir court. So after 1605, basically whatever that happens up to 1627, that is Jahangir. Madras has constructed much later during the period of Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb time, Calcutta has been constructed. Right? Jacob Charnock has approached the court of Aurangzeb and they got the permission to construct the fort in Kolkata. Madras, Mughals did not give directly. The Chandragiri Nayakas were the kingdom's local king. They gave the permission, but they were under the control of basically Mughals. But the king wise, if you look at it, it is Shah Jahan. Madras has happened. Right? Akbar was not even there in the scene because he died in 1605. They started coming in only in the 1608. Cham, came in that period. Right? So Aurangzeb time mein Kolkata has happened. Jacob Charnock you should be knowing. Now from this, what are the other themes that you can expect? One, important forts, time period. Now also with the other European powers where they have constructed their first port. Right? So Portuguese has started. First one is Portuguese to approach, where they have started their first factory, that is Cochin. Right? Then they basically shifted more towards the Goa. Right? So made their base towards Goa when they defeated or taken the Goa from Sultan of which kingdom they have taken Goa? Sultan of Bijapur. Last question we have discussed. Sultan of Bijapur, they have taken Goa. So after that, basically, you can see that, right? So Portuguese started in Cochin, then gives your Dutch company, right? So where does Dutch will start? Machulipattanam, right? Then comes your East India Company, that is English company. They start in Surat. Then comes the Danish company. They have Trankebar, right? Trankebar in the Tamil Nadu, right? Their first company. Then finally comes our French. They starts in Surat again. But later they shifted to Puducherry or Pondicherry permanent base. So that you should be having the different parts, right? And Battle of Swally become important because initially they did not get the permission to construct in Surat. So that basic story you should be having. Which king contemporary kingdoms were there, that much you should be knowing. Alright. So the answer is what? Jahangir. So that is always connecting the tiers and doing the things. Right. Next. Which among the following ports were called Babul Makkah or gate of Makkah during the Mughal period? If they want to go to Mughal, I mean the Mecca, right? So through which port they were using? That is the basic question. Which port was major port now? Surat. So they were using Surat port, right? So the Surat port is basically the one port which they are using, right? Now Calicut is much here in the Kerala, right? So again they want to go back up. So that is not something logical also. From the Gujarat is the place where they can easily reach there and reach with the Red Sea. So Calicut was under the Zamorian ruler, right? Where Portuguese initially came and the Zamorian ruler was there. And the Bravoch was port in the ancient India. They had already declined that point. Broch, Sopora, Tamralipti, Arikamedu, all we have studied during the very ancient period. So that was declined in its importance. Then Cambay is also there, known for textile trade but not for the Mecca. Right. So this is basically something you should be knowing about, and that is the basic thing again. Now in Indian history, who is Abdul Hamid Lahori? Now this is the recent question. Okay. You can see how the transition is happening, right? With important military commander during Akbar reign. Is it correct? An official historian in the reign of Shah Jahan, a chronicle and poet during the reign of Aurangzeb, a court poet during the reign of Muhammad Tughlaq. With Hamid Lahori. It is basically the an official historian of reign of Shah Jahan, right? So that means that the important historian at that point of time who has wrote history about various kingdoms. King themselves used to be appoint them and tell them write my story, so that future people when they come let them study, right? Not just for the archaeological excavation they do and study about me, right? Rather than you only write the story about me so that people know my story, right? So that is basically important from Babur you try to Mughal, and also during the Delhi Sultanate who was there, you have to divide them. Babur has written his own story, Babur Nama, right? It has been written by himself. Humayun, he was not having enough time to make someone sit and write the story because he ruled for 10 years, then went 15 years different, again came back, died within 7 months, right? So that means that he was not having enough time. But his son later felt, my father ka story is also required, right? So that means that he basically, the Akbar made Begum Gulbadan to write the story of Humayun Nama. Humayun Nama was written by not during the poet during his court, but Akbar made it to write the story of his father. But Akbar wanted to write his own story also, not just his father. So he had Abul Fazl, right? So he has written Akbar Nama, and also he has written Ain Akbari. Ain Akbari is about how administration of Akbar was there. Akbar Nama is history of Akbar, is those stories. So that is Abul Faisal. So you should be knowing Abul Fazl, who was the historian during the time of him. Similarly, that is Akbar. Humayun Nama, Begum Gulbadan you should be knowing. Babur Nama, he wrote on himself. Then Akbar's son is Jahangir. He felt that these historians will not write properly. I will write my own story, so he wrote his own story. right? So Jagir, Turk is something, Jahangir, that has been written by Jahangir itself. That is autobiography. Autobiography means I write about myself. Then Shah Jahan comes. He felt that again, I am not a good writer. Let me not concentrate on writing on my own. I will appoint someone to write. That is basically again, the Abdul Hamid Lahori. Right. Then comes our Aurangzeb. Again, Almirgir Nama has been written on his name. Half of the time he has written, then he felt that this history or everything should not be right at all. So he stopped appointing the historians. You don't waste, gaming about, rather than conquer more, bring more territory into our land. All these are not something. So he stopped that because he is more of an orthodox. Writing about the people, human, is not something correct. Writing about God is fine, not with the humans. We should not boast about ourselves itself. We are servant of God. So that is basically the philosophy of, initial, So since he was a more orthodox and conservative, he stopped writing the, history of himself. So the part of history he has made to write. So that is during the Almirgir Nama. So that means that the important historian. Similarly, during Delhi Sultanate, Ibn Battuta has come. Rila he has written. That is a traveler. Similarly, Minas Us Siraj Bolke, someone is there, who has written up to the story of, Nasiruddin Tughlaq. Right. Similarly, you have, who is you are having? Baroni you are having. Right. So Baroni also has been, Baruni has also written a story up to Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So you should be knowing the different historians and whose kingdom they have written. So that is one theme. From this theme, you should not stop at Abdul Hamid Zarri. Write down or make the note of all the different historians, whose kingdom they were contemporary, what is the story they have written. Whether, who have written autobiography, divide them into Mughal Emperor, Delhi Sultanate, their book name, and about whose contemporary they were. That's it. All right. Right. That is about, Mughals. Mughals may not much question has been asked. Whatever the question that has been asked in Mughal, it doesn't mean that Mughal is not important. Question has been under art and culture. Most of the question that they are there in architecture, their literature, their contribution in painting, their music contribution, that is there. Not in the political history. Initially they were asking political history, but if you look at the question, political history is also much lesser. Right? Now regional kingdom will do. Right? Again, who among the following streamlined the Maratha administration after Sambhaji? Who is Sambhaji? Son of Shivaji, right? He is contemporary of whom? Who killed Sambhaji? Aurangzeb. So that means that he is contemporary of Aurangzeb, right? Maybe a part of Shah Jahan also, in initial period, right? So basically, he is basically killed or executed by, and his son Shahu was taken away to prison. Right, so Sambhaji was killed, Sambhaji's son was Shahu. He has been taken to prison. Now what has happened? Sambhaji's brother was there, Raja Ram, who started fighting or taking the Maratha Empire further. So he basically died. After that, his wife Tarabai came to the picture. But when she was doing a lot of internal fighting, everything was happening. Then 1707 May, what happened? Aurangzeb died. Now when Aurangzeb died, the next king rulers were not that strong, and also Marathas were actually emerging and becoming very threat to the Mughals itself. So they made a plan. What we do? Send Shahu back. Now Shahu ka auntie is actually ruling the kingdom. There will be few supporters who will be supporting Shahu also. Some wants Tarabai also. Right. So now there is because the Shivaji, Sambhaji, all were great rulers. His son is coming. Now you should make him again the king who was the great rulers, or Tarabai is managing from last 20 years. You continue with her. There will be some people who will be following Shahu, some will be following Tarabai. So when there is an internal disturbance happens, they become weak. So that this can be managed better. So they released him. Right. Then this fight has started. Then basically, the Balaji Vishwanath, he was basically an accountant who has rose to the power of Prime Minister. Shahu appointed him as Prime Minister later. But he has told that, how to manage this. Few people are fighting for him, few people are fighting for him. Then what he did is, he basically took the control. He met all those who are supporting Tarabai also. and who was supporting Sahu also. Called them, you support Sahu only. In return, what you are going to get? You get the right to collect the tax. You are become Sardars now, right? Gayakwad, right? Bhonsle. So you will be giving that Sardars and you will be allowed to collect the Sardeshmukhi and Chauth taxes. So you are also, you become rich, we become rulers. So he made that deal. So Sardar started coming up with him. Then he went to Marathas, I mean Mughals also, and tell them that give the permission to collect Sardeshmukhi and Chauth, and you recognize Shahu as the ruler of the Marathas. So Mughal is a major kingdom who recognize Shahu is the king. So that has been settled the issue, and he has taken the doing the lot of reforms later. So that is how basically the Balaji Vishwanath later came that Peshwa, and that Peshwa also become hereditary after that. He made his son as the next Peshwa. He made his son as the next Peshwa. So the Peshwaship, which was, the kingship was hereditary. Prime Minister they were appointing. Now what happened? He became so strong that he made Peshwaship itself is hereditary. Right? So that is Balaji Vishwanath. Right? So then his son Bajirao, one has become. Then Balaji Bajirao, who was also called as Nana Sahib. So they were basically become the part of your this thing. So the Peshwaship, who streamlined every administration, started collecting the Chauth and Sardeshmukh. That is, what is Chauth and Sardeshmukh? Taxes. What is the tax? What is Chauth? 1/4. 1/4 of what? The revenue that you are collecting. Why you should give that 1/4 tax? Protect them. It is a protection tax. So what is the meaning of it? We don't, you collect the tax. We don't attack you anyways. If someone attacks you, we will protect you. For that, what we are charging? 1/4 of the revenue that you are going to collect. That is one. Then Sardeshmukh. Sardesh means basically king of the king. Complete king is there. For him, additional money has to be given. This is for only protection. But as a tribute to the king also you should give, because you are under that, you are recognizing him as the major king. We are all under this Maratha empire. So that means that you recognize him, start giving money of 10%. So 25% here, 10% as a tribute to selling that he is the real king. We are just ruling here. The real king is the empire. For him 10%, that is your identification. That is Sardeshmukh. That is 10%. Chauth is. So now they have allowed to collect the Chauth and Sardeshmukh. So that is how he basically streamlined, and the things have started falling in line. So answer is basically the Balaji Vishwanath. Because Raja Rama is only fighting against the Mughals only, because Aurangzeb has not stopped there. Right? He was fighting the Maratha and Mughal war was happening. Even after death of Sambhaji, Raja Ram continued that fight. So at that point of time, administration was not streamlined, still that chaos period was happening. The fight was happening. Right? So in that reason, this is the thing. Right? So that is you have to understand. Then from this also you have to understand about Maratha Empire, because Maratha Empire mein only one question has been asked. You have to understand the Maratha Empire, how it has started, what is Ashtapradhan system of Maratha Empire, the administration that becomes very, very important, and the guerrilla warfare that has started. Right? So that has also started from whom? The Shivaji's father. Right? So how he has started. So that basically understanding of it becomes very, very important. And then just that Folkar, Bhosle, all of them, their places. Right? Who is there in Nagpur? Who is there in Indore? Who is there in Gwalior? Right? Sindhia, Gwalior. Like that, Holkar, Indore. Like that, which place may, which these Sardars will come. That you should be knowing about. Alright? And then Peshwaship, that's it. Not again too much detail within their internal fight, how it is happening. All those are not really required. You have to see the question. Last 25 years, not 10 years. Basic understanding you should have. That's it. Right? Alright. How did the dynasty of Nizam Shahi Ahmadnagar came to an end? Again, these are very previous question. You don't need to much worry about the political history, but just know how they have ended. Who started it? How it has ended. It was annexed by Mughal Empire, and Hussain Shah was given life imprisonment. 1. Mughal troops destroyed Daulatabad fort, killed Nizam ul Mulk of Ahmadabad Nagar. Similarly, Fateh Khan usurped the throne from Nizam Mulk. Similarly, Malik Ambar was basically defeated in a battle with the Mughals in 1631, and the entire royal family was killed by the Mughal troop. So when Ahmadanagar has started, right, they were part of Bahmani kingdom. You know Bahmani kingdom? After that Bahmani disintegration, 5 kingdom has happened. Golconda, Ahmadnagar, right? Bijapur, Gulbarga. So like that 5 different kingdom has happened. One of the kingdom was basically Ahmednagar, right? So that has been started in the Ahmednagar. Then basically, there was a fight with over a period of time, their battle. After battle of Talikota, what happened? The Vijayanagar Empire was no more enemy for them. So after when has this has happened? Battle of Talikota, when is it has happened? 1530, 1560, 1530 something I think. So where then basically the fight with them has been ended. Now who is their real enemy? Mughal emperors. Mughal emperors wanted to take. So now with that Mughal empire, then Ahmednagar become weak. Then basically Chand Bibi came. Chand Bibi fought against Akbar, who was contemporary of Akbar, who was one of the greatest women ruler that you should be knowing, Chand Bibi, who is basically, coming from this Bijapur. Bijapur Pechi will come, she settles, she fights a battle. After that, basically, another important is Malik Ambar. Malik Ambar is basically, again, a slave from Ethiopia, who has risen from a very small position up to PM. He was known for guerrilla warfare. How he attacked Maratha, he knows that his kingdom is very small, but they were there in that hilly region. So he was to stay at the very hilly region. Whenever this Mughal used to come, he is attacked from anywhere, say from where it is coming, they won't know. The guerrilla warfare, right? From where they are fighting, you don't know. But only the things are that you are getting the stones from somewhere, arrows from somewhere, right? So that is the kind, basically a kind of guerrilla warfare. And under the Malik Ambar had worked Shivaji's father, right? Sambhaji Bhosle, that the Shivaji's father, he had worked under Malik Ambar. So he learned that guerrilla warfare from him, and then he came and started the Maratha Empire by learning from the Malik Empire. So that is again contemporary to each other that you should be knowing. After Malik Ambar died, this basically kingdom has become weak. Then one fine day, he was been annexed into Mughal Empire, and Hussain Shah was been given imprisonment. Right. So this is how it has been ended. So similarly, other Delhi, the Bahmani sultanates like Bijapur and Golconda, for them also basically what Shah Jahan has done, told them to accept the Mughal suzerainty. That means that you are under Mughals, that you accept. But Aurangzeb came, we will directly annex it. You don't want to have a independent existence, then Aurangzeb annexed it. So just to know about the Bahmani kingdom, their 5 kingdoms, how it has happened, and then their art and architecture ka different contribution. That should be your broader understanding. Again, too much of within history, how they fought against themselves, all those things are not really required, right? So may always make sure that that is okay. Who among the following ruler medieval Gujarat surrendered Diu to the Portuguese? Who gave? Right? Ahmad Shah, Muhammad Bagheera, Bahadur Shah, Muhammad Shah. Ahmad Shah is a founder, right? Founder. So he is not someone who has built the Ahmednagar, that's it. So he was not having any fight much with this thing. Later comes the Muhammada Barga. For him, basically, Portuguese was threat. So he was fighting a battle with the Portuguese, right? He had, 2 battles he has fought. In the battle of Diu, they lost also, right? So they were actually considering him as enemy, Portuguese as enemy. Over a period of time, what has happened? Portuguese was only concentrated in maritime trade. They were not really fighting other things. You give them fort, they are happy. Now what happened? Mughal become real threat. So if you want Mughal to be real threat, then whom you should be partner with? Navy force you need. So that means that you partner with Portuguese. If you want to partner with Portuguese, Treaty of Basin has been signed. So they have told that we will give you Diu part, you keep it Diu part. Instead, you support us through the Navy. So in that Treaty of Basin, the Muhammad Bahadur Shah basically has surrendered Diu to the, the Portuguese. That is the story that you should be having. Know with the story how they have been, which is threat, but not again with the important details, right? Again you see the question, right? That is about regional kingdom, right? So you can see how many questions are regional kingdom. Last 25 years may 3, 4. That is also just a very basic questions, right? So if you don't need to study within them in detail who defeated whom, that kind of history is not required, right? Because in many of your notes I have seen that you have a lot of details about all these things, which is not really required. You have to always draw a boundary line, what I have to study, what I have to remember. All right. So now we will do this and we will take a lunch break. Okay. Miscellaneous, whatever I cannot put it into other things. Now we will go little fast because all of the medieval India is done now. Right. This is basically chronological order you have to write. Now with your basic understanding only you have to tell. Qutub Minar, reign of Krishna Devaraya of Vijayanagar, arrival of Portuguese in India, death of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Try to connect it. Qutub Minar. What is your idea about Qutub Minar? Who constructed it? Qutubuddin Aidak has started it. Iltutmish has completed it. Qutubuddin Aidak, right? Why he has done that? On whose name Qutub Minar has been done? A Sufi saint, Bakhtiyar Kaki. Right, so Bakhtiyar Kaki was a Sufi saint. On his remembrance, basically, Qutub Minar was constructed. Right, so that means that when the Delhi Sultanate came, Qutubuddin Aibak has started the Delhi Sultanate. Which year? 1206, 1206, where it has started. Right, after them Tughlaq came. So death of Firoz Shah Tughlaq should come later. When did Vijayanagara came? 1336. So that is again later than your, forget about Krishna Devaraya, even Vijayanagara themselves has started in 1336, right? So that means that Delhi Sultanate was the beginning one. Now if you compare arrival of Portuguese, when Vasco da Gama came for the first time? 1498. So that means that what should be the earliest? Earliest is construction of Qutubuddin Aibak. That you should be having the broader understanding. So that means that which should come first? 2 should come first, right? Now let's say 2, right? These 2 are the options. So after 2, 4 has happened, right? Now after 2, 4 has happened. Now we have to pick between 1 and 3. Portuguese came first or Vijayanagara, Krishna Devaraya was ruling? Portuguese came first. From 1506, 1507, say basically Vijayanagara, the Krishna Devaraya started ruling. We had discussed that in the last class when we are discussing the Vijayanagar. So that means that arrival of Portuguese become earlier compared to this. So that means that which should be first? 3 should be first, 1 should be later. That is 2, 4, 3, 1. Right. So now it is about Portuguese also, Krishna Devaraya also, that it is a chronological order. You should be having a broader understanding. Right. Next, match the list and the correct answer using the codes given below. Ikta belongs to whom? Now see, you are seeing all are repeating basically. That's what I am telling. Right? Where you are seeing Iktas? Delhi Sultanate. A2. Right? A2. This or this. Okay. Now that means that B is 3. B is 3. That is Jagir is Mughals, right? Then Amaram. Amaram is Vijayanagar, right? We have seen Nayankara system where we have told that the same Amaram was given to Nayakas. Nayakankar system, the Nayakas after that, Vijayanagar we have Nagara, Madurai. All this has come because of this feudal system only. Same kind of Ikta system only. They were having Nayankara system, where basically the land given was called as Amaram. So that means that Vijayanagara and Amaram. That is C has to be 4. C has to be 4. The answer is, again theme is land administration, revenue administration during the different periods. Right. Then basically the Mukasa was basically during the Marathas, as I told you, to collect the Sardeshmukh and Chaut. They have also given the land similar to this, that is coming under the concept of. So that is again the same theme. What I am telling is it is a repetitive theme. If you observe, these are the theme I have to be very good at. Ikta, how it works, I have to be very good at. Jagirdar, how it works, I have to. What is that Jagirdari crisis that happened over a period of time? What is this? That I should be aware of it. Like that you should be having the same repetitive things. Right. Now, why did Buddhism start declining in India in early medieval times? in entire India that we are talking about. Buddha was by that time considered as one of the incarnation of Vishnu. Yes, under Bhagavad Purana, Buddha has become the 9th avatar of Vishnu. Who is the 10th avatar? Kalki, who is yet to come. Right? Right. So Kalki is someone when this Kali Yuga will end to establish the Satya Yuga, when the corruption gets more and other things happen, then Kalki will come. He is just like Maitreya of Buddhism, who has not yet come. When the things go out of control, to again establish the Satya Yuga after Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is moral have been completely down. That is what Kali Yuga. Whenever you use, this is Kali Yuga. Why we use that? That means that Kali Yuga ka meaning itself is, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga ka meaning itself is people ka moral will be down. Right? You will be corrupt. Right? You will be greedy. Right? So the same thing will be happening over a period of time. It reaches to a zenith. Now with that much of greediness, that much of corruptness, the system cannot sustain. Then comes the Kalki. Right? He will, make sure that everything is destroyed, and then he will establish a Satya Yuga. Similarly, when Buddha's thought process, everything is forgotten by the people. Then goes the Maitreya. According to Buddhism, Maitreya will come. He will make sure that again Buddhism ka old philosophy, the middle path you have to go, all those the philosophy will be coming. So that means that they are yet to come. Kalki has not yet come. Maitreya has not yet come. They are yet to come. But when after Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga will come. So that is just a basic understanding, right? Anyway, so he was the 9th incarnation, correct? And thus became a part of Vaishnavism. So this is one of the reasons that Buddhists also started becoming more of a, not as a separate one. So it is become a part of Hinduism only. They are also started, So that means that this is correct. So one will be there. Next. Invading tribes from Central Asia till the time of last Gupta king adopted Hinduism and persecuted Buddhist. Next third, that you are, let's say this you are not very sure about, right? You are actually getting confused, right? Because even though Huns has come, they were mostly in the northern part only. Huns invasion, where it has happened? West part of India, right? So that means that Huns invasion did not affect in the eastern part, central part, other part. They were limited to the northwestern part only or the western part only. So that we will keep it, we are not sure whether it is correct or not, I will keep it as it is. Go to the third statement. King of Gupta dynasty was strongly opposed to Buddhism. Is it correct? No. During their time Ajanta has happened. During their time Bak caves has happened. Kumara Gupta is the one who has basically established which university? Nalanda University. So are they opposite? Though they were following Hinduism, they were also supporting the Fahin has come during the reign of whom? Chandragupta too. So that means that Buddhism was still very much supported by the Gupta time. So that means that that is not something you strongly oppose, is something you can directly remove. That means that which should not be there in your answer? 3 should not be there. Answer should be 1. Right. So that is the basic understanding. So other is basically emergence of Vajrayana has happened, complex ritual, Mahayana Buddhism, and so they have also started more of Sanskrit and other things. So they moved away from Pali to Sanskrit. That means that they moved away from common people to, again learned people. So that again itself also started reducing. Then there will be a major invasion during the Turk invasion, right? Bakhtiyar Khilji has, taken out or, demonstrated many of this thing, Alanda, Odentpuri, Vikramshila University, all of them were being done. Only during the Pala time, Dharmapala has established basically Vikramshila University, Devapala has supported Nalanda University. So Buddhism was there at that point of time. Some support has given by the Eastern kings. Apart from that, after that end of the early medieval period when the Turkic invasion has happened, and that has been also completely destroyed, and the Buddhism has been declined in India. So that means that answer should be 1 only, right? In medieval India, the designation Mahattara and Pattakila were used for. Terminology based question. What is Mahattara and Patakila? Mahattara means Mahauttara, that is the elders. Right, so that is basically for headmen of the village. Right, Patakila is a precursor to Patel, Patil. This word has come from Patakila. Right, so these were usually used in western region or a Deccan region of Rashtrakutas, Patel and all you have seen. Right, similarly there was Grama Bojika related to village, which word was there? Grama Bojika or Gramika is there. Also for village accountants, Kulkarni was there. Right, still also we will have many surnames by Kulkarni. So Kulkarni is basically village accountants. Right, so that surname was given to them. So that is basically about your this thing. Similarly, Mukaddams is another village headman during the Delhi Sultanate period. So you know this is mostly in the western part. The similar term used in the Delhi Sultanate Maratha was basically Mukaddams. So that you should be having a basic understanding. Similarly, specialist in Vedic rituals are Purohits. Right? Right. And military officers, Senapati. Right. So those terms were there rather than Mahattara or a Patakila. Right. Similarly, craft guild were Shreshtis. Right. So that is basically about this. So that is having the broader understanding about village administration with respect to them. Next. So this is actually okay. So printing error has happened here. Just make it as only. Okay. So make the second option as 2 only. That was just a printing error. Right. Medieval Indian state and present name. Right. There's another theme. They were using their known name. Now it has been known by a different names. Right. Champaka. Where is it? Champa region. Here, Champa region, Champu region, Chambi region. What is that? Okay, sorry. So this is basically in the Chambi Valley region of Himachal Pradesh. Okay. So that is Champaka name it was knowing. Second, basically Kuluta. It is a Kullu region. Kullu, where it is Kullu? Himachal Pradesh. So this is also incorrect. They have given Malabar. Then Durgara is Jammu region. It is correct. So answer should be 2 only. But this is a kind of question you can't help much. Right? It is more of a luck that day. If you know, otherwise you don't know. So you cannot, again as I told you cannot find out and start mugging up all the things. However, just have the broader names of, divide them into central India. Central India mein Jeja Bukti. Jeja Bukti is which place? Medieval kingdom, Jeja Bukti or Chandelas. Right? So for the Chandela kingdom, the Jeja Bukti was the name. In the king's name it has been given Jeja Bukti. Similarly, Dahala is a central Indian name in the Jabalpur region. Those were in that part. Similarly, in the western part, Anartha in Gujarat, Saurashtra in Gujarat. Saurashtra still it is being called, cricket team is also there of Saurashtra. Right, so that is Anartha and Saurashtra of the western part Gujarat. Right, similarly if you go further in the south, right, Todu Mandalam or Kongu region. Kongu region is also in the Coimbatore region and Toda Mandalai is also a, Tamil Nadu region. So Kaveri Delta mein, those two you should be knowing. Similarly, have the broader understanding of, Utpala, right, Kakatala, these things basically from the northern region if you know, and in the western part, Kalinga, Vengi, right. Similarly, those regions you should be having. So just divide them into a different kingdom. Eastern mein 2-3 important kingdom ka old names you remember, Central India ka you remember, then Northern India ka. Like that if you divide, have the broader understanding, it's more than enough. But it is again, just because one question is asked, I will make all the list of the world name is not possible. So don't try to, fit into the trap, but major kingdoms ka you make a list, not a minute one. The kingdom, Kalinga itself is important, Vengi kingdom is important, Kongu you have heard, Saurashtra you have heard, Anartha you have heard. So whatever that you have heard and you feel that it is important, you can make a list of, but don't go and start doing the minute one also. Right? So that is not really required. Right? Then in the economic history, of the medieval India, what is the term Aragatta refers to? Bonded labor is Visti, Begar, all are bonded labor, right? Similarly, land grants made to the military officers, is it correct? No, right? Similarly, water wheel used in irrigation of land. So, this is a Persian wheel, right? So, that is a technology that has been used, right? So, now similarly measurement of converted land, that is also not correct. So, this is a Persian wheel technology through animal support. We have seen that Persian wheel, right? How does it work basically, right? There will be a, two bullocks will be there. For them basically a long kind of, stick will be taken and this water ka bottle will be there. So what it will do, when it will take a round, horizontal and vertical will be there, more it takes around, it will take a water and put it to the canal. It will move to the water, put it to the canal. From that canal, they will allow it to pass it to the different, irrigated land. So from the well, it wants to take, right? So what you do, as it moves, your, bucket will take the water and put it there. So that is Aragatta, right? Similarly, before there were different system were also there. So what were the different system that were there before, you should be knowing, right? So, different system may how they were doing, how manual labor may they were doing, right? Animal may there is another one, motive or charas, right? So that is basically is also there. So that is basically how it was doing. Only one time they were doing, that is having a kind of ramp like this, okay? Animal will start to walk like this, and animal with the animal, let's say this is water, okay? So this is water, animal has been put, bucket has been put. As animal goes down, what will happen? This water will come up, then someone will collect that water, put it here, right? Again you want to put the bottle to the well again, you make the animal to walk in the, again in the ramp up. So again water will go down, right? That is, it is making in the ramp up, ramp down. But the problem is every time you have to collect the water and put it there. That is basically motors or charas that they were telling, right? So that is also animal powered only, but it was not that naturally it was happening and it was only collecting and doing. There was a human intervention was not. But in that it is not needed. In the Persian wheel, what they did, they connected vertical and internal. As it starts walking in the circle, this only used to take the water and it used to only fill the water. So you just see in YouTube, still there in many of the northern states, they still practice that. So if you see Aragatta, you will understand it. Always have that curiosity to see in the YouTube and other things, so that you will always remember it for a very long time. You are not mugging up it. So you are seeing how this is works. Then it becomes easy to remember. All right. Okay. Next, the term. In the context of history of India, consider the following term. Eri Patti, land revenue of which was set apart from the maintenance of the village rank. Taniyurs, village donated to single Brahmin or a group of Brahmin. Gatikas, college generally attached to the temples. 1 and 2, 3 only, 2 and 3, 1 and 3. So that is terminology. Another important theme, if you are seeing Agaragatta, terminology may that time may whatever important, medieval and ancient India, make a separate list of terminologies. Right, again make the larger terminology which were applicable across the India rather than the kingdom wise. Satavahanas may what were the terminology, like that don't go. If it is very important kingdom, for example Cholas, they had completely very important. Sangamej ka terminology important, Delhi Sultanate ka terminology important, Mughals ka terminology important. So if they are having significance, then you should be knowing the terminology, right? What is this? Eri Patti. Eri means what? Tank. Okay. So they are derived from a word. Eri means tank. Right. Patti means the land grant that has been given. Right. So that is basically it is for maintenance of water tank only, because you won't have irrigation system at that point of time. So to maintenance of the tank only, you have to whatever the revenue is collected, that will be used for maintenance of tank. So Eri Patti is correct. The revenue set apart for the maintenance of village tanks, and it was for during the Chola administration. See other part like Devadana, similar term that was used, Shala Bhoga, Shalabhoga means some revenue is kept apart from maintaining the schools. Right, that is Shalabhoga. Pichindalam. So Pachindalam is basically for Jaina monastery, some money has been cut. Right, like that basically you have, Brahmadeya, that is for villages of Brahmin separately it has been kept. Right, that is all during the Satavahanas also we can see that terminologies. Right, similarly, what is Taniyurs? Ur means basically village or a town. Taniyurs basically are a separately administered town. Now there will be two administration, village administration, urban administration. But all urban administration cannot go same. Let's say there is a temple village. It has to be treated differently, not like as any industrial village or industrial town. The industrial town is separate. Temple town is separate. Temple town has to be administered differently. Industrial town. So like that, there are certain towns which has a separate administration system that are called as Taniyur. Right. So these are not village donated to a single Brahmin. So this is more of a Brahmadana definition they have given or a Brahmadeya definition they have given. It is not about Brahmadeya. The Taniyur is basically a separate town which has been basically administered in a different way rather than a regular urban or rural administration. Such villages, basically known for temples. They have their own customs where their administration has to be very different. So that is called as Taniyurs. So that is basically, this is wrong. Then Gatikas, you know that it is a colleges attached to temples where the Sanskrit and other learning used to happen. So that means that this is correct. So answer should be 1 and 3. Second is incorrect. Now with this you understand the terminology, other related to terminology with respect to that. Right? Banjaras in the medieval Indian period was generally what? Traders? Yes. Right. So they were basically coming up in tandas. They were the one who were basically transferring large amount of goods. Right. So in a groups they used to go. That is called as tandas. Whenever some attack used to happen, they used to have with the tandas, they can fight it back. With the armed forces only they used to go. Right. So that is basically they were more of a traders taking it from one region to other region. Right. So that is first part of it, and they were famous during the Mughals and Delhi Sultanate time. So if they want to transfer large amount of goods, that is Banjaras were basically doing. Right. Now when that is being done, what is your job? Understand the other trading communities. Right. Chettis. Right. So where were Chettis? Right. So Chettis were basically in the Coromandel coast here. Right. For Southeast Asia, the trading was being done them. Then similarly, there is something called Moors. Moors is basically the traders in Malabar coast. Okay. Similarly, Baniyas, right, basically comes to the Gujarat. Baniyas will be in the Gujarat, known for maritime trading, right, in this region, Surat region. So that is different trading communities across the different names within India you should be knowing about. So once you get this theme, from there you try to understand that. Then also understand the financial term or commercial term that used to be used. There is a system. For example, there was something called hundi, right? And there was something called shroffs. Sometimes they also use it a word as sarafs. Who are sarafs? Sarafs or shroffs are basically indigenous bankers, right? They used to give loan to the government also. Government means here kingdom again, right? Or to the regular people, for the traders also. So the shroffs is basically someone is the banking agent. What is this hundi is about? Bill of exchange. So that means that, as I told you, whenever you need money, trader what he will do? He will take that bill of exchange, go to one shroff, right? One banker is there who gives the money. I will go and bill of exchange, I will give it him. So what he will do? He will give me the money. So that means that, let's say if there Banjaras are there, just for our understanding, Banjaras are there. They are taking goods from one place to other place. Now they will take lot of goods. Now once they come to lot of goods, let's say from Bangalore to Delhi, they are taking this goods by road, right? And they give it to in Delhi, dump all their goods. Now when they dump all their goods, money has to be given. Now money, let's say it is valuable goods. let's assume, so that they are getting lot of money. Now is it safe for them to come back keeping that much of money in the road always? Always a threat, right? So you are having so much of money with you, so I don't want to carry money with me, right? As a logical. So what I will do, I will take basically this person, what he will do, he will also have a banker here. This banker in Bangalore are connected. Just like two banks in Bangalore are connected, Delhi is connected. Like that, these shops from two cities are connected. They have a relationship. What I will do for my good, rather than getting the money, I will get the bill of exchange, where they were told that this much money has to be given to him. This has been given by the banker staying in Delhi. You don't worry, my branch is there in Bangalore, you give this. I am giving you check. It is just like a check. So what I will do, again I will come back to Bangalore, I will find in another shop, to him I will give the bill of exchange. He gives the money in my hometown. Now it is same, I can directly keep it in my home. So rather than keeping the entire money in the whole journey. So that is what Shroffs and Hundi system are linked together. Now for them, with whom they are linked? With the traders Banjaras. So when you are studying Banjaras, overall instrument you have to understand that there are Shroffs or Sharafs, there was Banjaras, there was Hundi. So this is the long term trade that was happening from one place to other place. And this Hundi is not just within India, these Sharafs can be outside India also. This banker can be outside India also. You are selling goods to, let's say Persia. Persia he will give bill of exchange, you can come and exchange. Now when Persian goods are coming to India, he should get money here, he want to get money in the Persia itself when he goes back, that he will give. Like that we will have an understanding. So that way you are having the broader understanding of these two things. So that is basically the different terminology related to trading communities, other trading community, financial instrument related term, all you have to understand in one go. So that will make your overall this thing completed, right? Then how many terms are there? Last three questions, then we will have a break for lunch, right? Term, again meaning. All this if you see, terminology based question. Right, so you have to make a list of terminology. You've seen the questions now. What was asking in Delhi Sultanate? How the Bhakti movement has asked? How Mughals may question are asking? How other regional kingdom? Other regional kingdom very, very less with the political history. Mostly questions are from the terminology. And whenever in the terminology also more related to trade and economic activity or cultural activity. So regular, regular term all that I don't need to, or something new invention. That means that Persian wheel is a new invention in irrigation. So when the irrigation question comes, it is Ghayasuddin Tughlaq who has started the irrigation first. But the Firoz Shah Tughlaq has constructed many canals. So when something irrigation comes, irrigation related you have to cover in that way, right? And how that irrigation has to maintain through a tanks in southern India, Eripatti is a revenue kept for maintaining that track. All are linked basically if you see from a broader perspective, right? So next, okay, Anurag, in charge of treasury of the state. Baniyan, Indian agent of the East Indian Company. Third, Mirasdar, designated revenue payer to the state. Right? Any word you are aware? Any word you can at least try to guess. Who are Baniyans? Baniya, Gandhiji will be sometimes called as Baniya, right? So that word is being used. I mean, not in a negative sense. Basically, they belong to a trader community, basically, right? So that is basically Baniyas. Baniyas may basically trader community. So that is agent of East India Company is more of a trading. So they will be taking the money, acting as because East India Company cannot directly intervene and ask the people. They won't be knowing the language. They want Indian agents were there for every aspect. There were wakils, right, who will be looking into the things. Like that, they will be commercial agents. Baniyas will be there. Gomastas will be there, right? So so Baniyans was the Indian agent of East Indian Company is correct. Okay. Now what is this Anurag? Anurag is basically warehouse or a godown. That word is Anurag. Mirsadar or Mirasidar, again it is basically just like a large farmers how it is there. The same thing will happen here also. So during the Ryotwari system, the English, that they have told that the Mirasidar, they have whoever the previously was there, for them only they have identified to collect the taxes. Not that it is that directly from the farmers they are taking. Right. So in that way they are doing. So designated revenue officer to the state, this is also correct. This is also correct. But this is warehouse, not the in charge of treasury of the state. So answer is 1 is wrong basically, and it is 2 and 3. Right. Now this will lead to understand this terminology again. As I told you, terminology becomes important. So you should be knowing, terminology, something called gomasta. Right. And you should knowing the terminology dadni. Right. How this will work basically. Right. Then banyan. Right. So now how this will work? Let's say there is a textile weaver is there. Okay. Gomasta is someone who sees the production or the quality, supervisor of quality, how it is happening. Right. We also we use gumasta, who looks after the things basically. Right. So gomasta is basically Indian agent of British who look after the quality of the production. Right. Now dadni is what? Dadni is the advance payment, so that you have to give it to me only. You cannot later change your plan. This much money I will give, advance is given. Later, even though in the market price is increased, you can't do much. So it is like a advance payment we are doing. Right. In the corporate farming, how they do? Initially only they will fix the price, irrespective of market price. If market go down also you will make a profit. Market does go up, farmer will make a loss. But that risk is involved for both of the parties. Right. So that is like advance payment is called dadni system. So what they will do, for example, if there is a weaver is there, he will give dadni. Dadni means what he will give? Advance payment will be given. So he starts producing, which will be looked after by gomasta. Right. So once the gomasta is been seen, that production will happen, textile will view, then that will be stored in anurag, that is in the godan. Right. Whatever the production that has happened, that will be taken to basically, they want to now sell it across. Who will do? Indian agent of East Indian Company Banyan will start trading it from the this thing. So that means that it is a again cycle from weaver to gomasta. Gomasta will give dadni and make sure that the things are happening as per the plan. That will come to anurag, that is basically warehouse. From warehouse, traders will take and they will sell it. So they act as an Indian agent of East India Company. They will sell it. So that is how when this comes, you should understand overall flow of the trade that was happening at that point of time. We know that British used to take the goods, but they were not directly coming always. They were not knowing the language. Right? One state you go, they are speaking in Kannada, one day Tamil, so they only know English. So it was not really possible to maintain for 200, 300 years. There has to be some system which has to make them sure that. So they wanted Indian agent in everything. They had translators, their envoys or wakils, all these things that has to be seen. Right? Now, in medieval India, term fanam coins. Right? So easy question. Please. Fanam refers to coins. Okay. So that is basically, now when it is overall coinage during the medieval India, you have to study. Right. Delhi Sultanate may, for example, Iltutmish, right, has started tanka. Tanka means which coin? Silver coin. Similarly, he had jital, which is copper coin. Right. So this was basically the basic thing. Similarly, Vijayanagara Empire may, we are having Varahar pagoda. That is for gold coin. Varahar pagoda. Then during Sultanate period, say, who came? Sher Shah Suri came. He standardized basically the coin and silver coin. He come up with the new concept of rupiah. Rupiah by Sher Shah Suri. Okay. Right. So during the Akbar, he has introduced one more coin, that is copper coin, because silver coin is not really, you cannot have for a smaller transaction. Copper coin has been done. Right. So that is called dam. Copper coin by Akbar. Right. So, and there is something called mohur. This is gold coin. Right. So that means that during Mughals, they have a tri-metallic system. Tri-metallic means 3 different metals. Depending upon its usage, they were having. So that means that the good transaction or more of a symbolic kind of thing, the gold has been happening. That is mohur coin. and the regular trade that was happening in silver, also called as rupaya, after Sher Shah Suri. And if it is a low level transaction then it is copper, that is dumb. So tri-metallic system was there during the Mughal period. So coinage system across the various parts have the broader understanding, right? So then finally can have irrigation device Argarata was called. Now already they have only given irrigation device. Now you see the difference. This is 2025 question. Now they are not asking Aragatta is what it is. Irrigation, bonded labor. Now that has been already done. One that comes, they go to the next level. That is what I am telling you to understand the logic. Right? A water bag made of leather pulled over a pulley. Right? First statement. Sorry. Right? Pulled over a pulley. Second, a large wheel with earthen pots, right? Outer end of the spokes, right? Similarly, larger earthen pot driven by bullock. Similarly, large water bucket pulled up by rope directly by hand, that you do, right? So now you see it. Right, now this is become little tricky if you have not know what it is, right? Right. Now ara means basically gatika or gatta means basically pot. Ara means basically spoke, right? That is what we are taking it, right? So that is ara gatta. So that is anyways, but still pot is there in both the options, right? So this is basically a water bag made of leather or pulled over a. This is called mote or charas that I spoke about, right? So this was the early system. This was also using animals. Leather bag used to be kept. Now what they used to do, they have a ramp here, animal used to walk, and they have been tied with some this thing and leather bag to the water. As they go down, water used to the bag will pick the water and it will come. So they move up to here, water will be completely coming. They will be made to stop, take the water, put it in some pot, again tell them to walk in the upper ramp. Again it goes, it will also make sure that the pulley will go down, take the water, again go to the downside. Where you go away from the water center, what will happen? Let's say if I am keeping it here, I am going like this, so as I am picking the water, because water is filled there, I am moving away from here. As I move from away, I am taking that also along with me, so water is coming up. Then someone will collect it, that is put. So that is basically mote or charaska definition, right? Similarly, larger wheel with earthen pots tied to the outer end of the spokes. That is basically nothing but your Aragatta system, right? So Aragatta system is pot has been constructed to a complete spoke. So as it is rotating, it will collect multiple bottles are there, multiple time water is coming, and they will put everything into one canal. From that canal, it will made to flow into a irrigated land. That is how irrigation will happen. So answer should be B. This is also not looking logical. Large earthen pot driven by pulla. So that is something logically also not sounding correct, right? So if you just know it is about irrigation, then it is more about this is basically something large water bucket pulled up by rope directly by hand. Is not something a Persian technology or a wheel technology. It is called Aragatta is called as what? Persian wheel technology. Even if you know it is a Persian wheel, wheel may what you will have? Spokes, right? So like that also you can connect. Right, so then from the option which is having more spoke and it has been tied to different spokes, that will make sure that this is the answer, right? So this is about your irrigation device. Then there is another system called Dekli also, right? So sea water various initially system was there. Along with that, you see the new invention in other field also. In the textile field, weaving field, charaka has come. In a writing field, pehle we are writing on a manuscript used to write on a palm leaves, birch leaves. So or bark of birches basically, right? So later paper came. So sea paper came during the period of which time? So that is a new invention in the literature part. Then history can be stored and written somewhere and those things, right? Similarly, there was a problem with the cavalry may stirrup has come. What is stirrup? Stirrup is basically that iron ka basically in that where you are going in a horse, your leg will be basically connected now, so that even if it is jumping, you will not jump. Before, what was happening when Alexander and all came, they were just riding the horse without having anything that is being protected. So if the jump that is jumping, you will also jump and sit. Right. Now what will happen? You are basically, you will have your leg support in that stirrup technology, where you will not move even though horse is doing like this. You will move along with it, but you will not get out of that. That is called stirrup technology. Right. So the stirrup technology is one of the innovation that has led to many battles later. Now they can control the horse, so they can fight easily. So the battle has become more with the, so like that different innovation that has happened in the different field also you should be knowing. So this is basically not going very deep, minute details you are understanding, and whatever those questions even in Mughal came, that is very long in 2011, 1, 2, like that they have come, not in the recent year. Recent year may it is more about art and architecture, administration reforms, and it is terminologies. Major ka just have the broader understanding like a story. What happened like a story is enough, not who was involved in it, which king within that kingdom, his son, his prime minister, that detailing is not really required. Only the story wise if you know, that would be more than sufficient, right? So in the afternoon session, we'll start at 2:30, 1 hour, okay? So I'll not take too long for again, maybe around 4:30 we will leave, or 3, 4:30, where we will discuss art and architecture. Then within that architecture we will discuss, painting we will discuss, after painting we will move to Buddhism and Jainism, very very important chapter. Right, so that much we can finish today. I think entire architecture and art and culture will not be possible, and remaining we will have it in the next class along with modern India. So this is your most difficult part of all the subjects. So once you cover this, other subjects become very very easy. All right. Okay. So see you in the afternoon after 2:30. Right.